unpredictable drafting, and that's going to be huge for the side of Falcon to be able to protect.
Have a very good idea and have done their good due diligence in making sure, hey, let's get rid of some annoying factors. Grok being very, very popular in the EXP lane. Sometimes it can be flexed even for the support section, but most of the time you see an EXP. 1-1, obviously, that's a big no-no.
I mean,
100%.
Yeah, and considering we're all from different regions, right? These teams are all from different regions. I'm wondering what kind of meta is going to develop here, like for MSC, because it's going to be different from what we've seen, I feel like, to a sense, with all the heroes being available. And, I mean, are these typical bans that we can expect? I mean, now Todak banning out that Fanny. I know you guys mentioned Fanny kind of playing different roles even in your own regions. And I think, what did you say? A Fanny Roam worked out.
Yeah, Fanny Roam worked out in MPL-MI. We like it a little crazy here, you know. We like to have a little bit of fun, and that's that X factor that Todak has, that they're willing to experiment and really go out of their way to try out something new.
To be honest though, we are still in the first day of the group stage, right?
Yeah.
I love experimental drafts, I love the pocket strats, I love the cheese strats, but maybe they want to, just kind of iron things out with each other, right? So we already see a Valentina ban coming through for the side of Falcon, and this is notoriously always there. I mean, I've seen the Valentina ban come in from the Indonesian region in particular, where it's just been banned for 2 seasons straight. Why is that?
Well, based on stats here from MPL-MY, it has a 100% win rate, and I'm pretty sure all across the board, it never goes below 80, right?
Yeah. Come on. Usually, I feel like, the ban rate is quite high too, usually, and if it goes through, then
it's a free win.
It's also flex. Like, that's the thing. It could be a flex pick. We've seen it in the Roam. We've seen it in XP, Gold,
Jungle.
Mid, Jungle, like literally. But now, this is my next point, right? They don't take out the Julian. Julian's going to be open here for the tournament. Do they prioritize this? They don't. They take the Akai.
No, I mean, Akai does have some quality of life changes that they made to it pretty recently as well in the patches. So I think it's going to be a little easier to use, especially you'll have less reaction time to his ultimate as well. But that's what we're talking about. And it looks like Todak, they're not pulling back any punches, straight away going for the meta picks. Xavier as well as Julian straight off the cuff.
To be honest, I really like this Akai pick. I think it can be flexed into so many different positions. But what I know about Ken in their jungler position, he is an assassin player. So we already see Natalia being played, which kind of makes it a fact that the Akai is going to be in the jungle position. The question is Ken going to be comfortable on this?
We'll have to see. I know it's worked really well, but having a Natalia roam, most likely this is going to be a Natalia roam, right? We have seen this work wonders in the Philippines, especially from some very prominent players over there. And I'm wondering if this will actually be enough to handle, again, the Julian. You can see it right there. Is Julian viable in the current meta? We're about to find out with game number 1, because it's going to be paired here with Xavier. And I'll tell you what, man, the combination with Julian, honestly, you think of Xavier, there's already a lot of CC on low cooldown for Xavier. Then you throw in a Julian on top of that, and there's going to be a lot to handle here for the side of Falcon.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of safe peel coming in from Todak's side, which is a really great way, because now they have something as, I wouldn't want to say slippery. It doesn't really encapsulate how effective Brody can be in this meta, especially when you're playing against people who want to be melee. Akai, Esmeralda, Natalia, they're all great starts, but there are some very obvious signs that Falcon, they want to make sure, okay, Xavier, he's not going to have a good time. We have a Natalia to deal with that. How are we going to stop them from getting us off? Let's get rid of the Atlas. We've seen it before. And even Todak now putting a lot more priority on the gold lane bans to get a good matchup.
Yeah, I completely love the Atlas ban coming through for the side of Falcon. I think they are bringing such a really melee type. They want to go dive in. They want to go crazy onto the members of Todak, especially seeing the Xavier. So that's going to be very important for them to deny all aspects of some CC. I honestly would think that a Diroth ban would come through, because we'd want to see the Esmeralda just be a priority lane from the get-go.
Well, that still leaves the, what we like to call the eternal battle in the Philippines, Esmeralda versus Uranus. That could pop up here because, yeah, Diroth is typically picked usually to counter Esmeralda. It works really well. And not just that, but even to take down some of those tankier picks because of that armor penetration that he has. So right now, Todak really wants to round out this combination they have. They have a lot of range, I will say that. They don't have to really initiate and be in the kind of zone of getting zoned out by Akai, right? They don't have to be all up in the face of Esmeralda here. So What are they going to round this out with?
It's going to be either. Oh, I wasn't thinking of Ruby specifically. I was thinking more of along the lines of Uranus or maybe even Glue. Allowing them to peel even more because it feels like that's what Todak is trying to go for. They want to buy that time, play that range, and start pushing their advantages.
Honestly, I would have thought that a Uranus pick would be good for the side of Todak, right? I think it can alleviate the pressure that an Esmeralda can have in lane, understanding that the Dyrok as well as a Masha has been banned away. So I do expect a Uranus pick coming through, but we'll see. I mean, Todak with the crazy picks, that's definitely still on the table. But for the side of Falcon here, we see the Yve as well as the Clint coming into play, and I think it's quite a good pick. I mean, what they're lacking was range. They have that in the real world manipulation that the Yve can ensue, especially with the crowd control, the utility of the slows. And when I think about it, every time they're going to a team fight, they have an advantage in that way.
It's weird too because if you think about, you know, the Eve pick, the real world manipulation, and then you also have an Akai, you got to be very careful that you're not pushing people out of the zone, right? So there's going to be some coordination there for them. But okay, Todak's going to go ahead and lock it then in the Baksha, which is most likely going into the jungle.
I think there could be a change-up of things.
Or is it Julian jungle?
That's the thing. That's what we're not 100% for, because Baxia does pretty well in lane against someone like Esmeralda. That matchup could be highly prioritized, but I think we have to immediately talk about that real-world manipulation getting cancelled by either Julian or even Baxia could pose a lot of problems for the team, because it's the only way the Falcon can keep Todak in one place.
I feel like that's always the challenge of having an Eve, right? You need to be able to decide, hey, this is the best moment to set up here, and if you fail, if that's canceled out, you lose a lot of that winning power, that deciding factor in your team composition. So we'll have to see how it plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how it plans out as we're going straight into the Land of Dawn here for game number 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1, MSC 2022. We're kicking it off with the home team, Todak versus Falcon Esports.
Oh, so this is going to be a Julian EXP. So the Baxia is going to be in that jungle position, and that's exactly like what you predicted here, Nice.
Well, I've seen a Baksha jungle a time or two in the Philippine meta, and so maybe they're taking a note from that. But notice also, right, it's going to be the battle of jungle emblems. We talked a little bit about the effect of jungle emblems, how they set the pace of the game, they lead to objectives. And I gotta say, there's not many choices, I feel like, for jungle emblems right now in the current meta.
Well, I think it also depends on playstyle. If you are deciding to go for a tank jungler, it makes sense to take something, especially when it comes to the jungle. Oh boy. All right, I'm a little worried here, right? Because Yums has to make sure Natalia doesn't get out of control.
Yeah, and if anything is going to happen, it's going to be setting at that pace, because Natalia, like Naomi, is going to be setting the pace. Also, right, it's your job. Like, find those targets, literally assassinate them, take them off the map. If you have an automatic number disadvantage, it's going to be hard for you. But again, Yums on this rookie, I think, will be able to provide some of that CC they really need to counter play around here. It's just, do they have enough? And again, the biggest question mark is, how is Julian gonna affect this whole thing? Because a lot of the times, I mean, a lot of people out there, viewers as well, have not seen enough of Julian. Not to mention, we have Sprint City here on the side of Todak.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how this Julian is going to play. I mean, if we take a look at the mini-map, we can see that he is kind of falling behind in lane. The rotations are there, so maybe they have an advantage there.
Right now, Ken's going to be the focus here. Pops the ultimate, Hurricane dances out of there. There's a knockup. That's what I'm talking about. So as we see the game develop here, especially around these objectives, how will that play a part? Now, the first turtle is going to be up there. A little bit of action going up here. That's going to be the first blood already drawn off camera. Real world is going to come down. Momo's pretty low. He's got to be careful. Goes out. I don't think they can commit to this turtle just yet. They might have bob and weave through it. Their jungler's pretty low. This could just go over to the side of Falcon here. Turtle trying to be taken out slowly but surely, and they grab it. First turtle of the game.
First turtle of the game goes into the hands of Falcon, and this is exactly the way they like to play. They like to play for the early game. They go and contest these early objectives, and that's exactly what Naomi were built for, right? With Natalia, they have a little bit of an advantage in that pick-off pressure, and they are trying to use this to their advantage.
Yeah, a lot of this has to do with just the timings of their ultimates, right? How effective is it going to be? Oh wait, no, he found a catch onto Moon! Moon.
That's exactly what Naomi has to do. Finds Moon. That's going to be a nice pickup here. So they even the score, but again, a little more action. Can he actually get out of there? Ken is taken down with a torn apart memory.
Oh no, one trade here for the side of Todak. So now Todak's actually in the lead in terms of kills, but wow!
Nice pull there. Can they find the kill? Dawning Light's going to come out, sniping out him, and he goes down. Yellow Flash now going to be the focus target here. He's going to get quite low. Is slowed, but able to bob and weave out of there. Still able to get out with his life.
Oh boy, some scary stuff here. Some really scary stuff from both teams. And already you're seeing that Momo is really taking this jungle role very seriously. Something that Chico usually goes to play with. But you know, Momo, he's been taking his time. He's adapting to the many different carry roles that Todak needs him to be. He is the Swiss Army knife that Todak wants.
Oh man, I didn't realize that. Yeah, so man, that is how flexible Todak is. 4 Maze Moon, and who else just swapped roles? Chiku. That's insane. That is a next level of flexibility that Todak has in their arsenal, and it seems like it's paying really good for them.
I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the teams that have those kind of flexibility options for their roster is going to play a part in here. Because, again, this is group stages. You don't want to show everything, but here's the I'm offended combination. Another kill taken here. Justin goes down.
Todak is playing a really good game here, right? It's all about mid control, is making sure that Naomi isn't allowed to roam around the map very, very free, and catching Justin off is very ideal to set up for situations. For example, like Turtle right now. Yes, Xavier, he can't really do too much, but when he has that Dawning Light, you feel his presence, especially when you're low.
And not only feeling his presence, but as the game goes longer, that presence of the Dawning Light is literally, what, 15 seconds? Every time you gotta worry out. Now here, the Turtle's gonna be secured by Momo. He gets that one. Hurricane Dance gonna find Yumes, but now they're focused on I'm offended. And he goes in with a Dawning Light. Not going to connect here. Still going to be focused on killing spree. Goes over to Moon. They're turning it here. Now Yellow Flash has to be careful as they now focus here. Todak focusing on the mid lane.
That was such a beautiful team fight by Todak. You could see that each and every one of them had their own winning condition. But wait a minute.
Oh, Real World's going to come down. Look at the back lane. Momo finds Justin. Cancels the ult. Does his job. Torn apart memory again. Finding the target. Naomi's out of here.
That's exactly what I was trying to mention. I mean, they all know what they need to do. They need to go in for that backline, and they're just so good at being able to split those jobs. As once again, Yellow Flash really showing his supremacy, although we can see that Chiku is still able to be maneuvering around that.
Ooh, that spacing though is looking real good for Chiku, but they did a cheeky lane swap here, which is rather interesting, knowing that Clint doesn't seem to be falling off as hard as Chiku wants to. He wants to press the advantage even more. He wants the out-push and continuously play for neutral objectives.
Yeah, and one thing that we've seen a lot of, hold on, Yellow Flash could be in trouble here. He's got to slow out, but he's actually going to survive for now. 4 Maze also across the map. Same thing. Now, as I was going to say, you mentioned, you know, Clint. Silent here on this Clint. A lot of the times when we see this hero picked, this is the best case scenario, right? Get into the game, be 0-0-0, farm up, and then later on in the game, you pop off for your team and actually win those little skirmishes, those team fights later on. I think this is good for Falcon Esports, and they can play around this for now.
And it's more emphasized. Yellow Flash should be okay here, right? All right, he walks away. But yes, this is emphasized more by the Weapon Master that Silent decided to take instead of your traditional killing spree.
Oh, right now, they're actually going to focus here on the top lane, but they got wind of that. They're going to back off here. Turtle going to be up here just in about 10 seconds. So we'll see how this plays out. A lot of these fights, though, we haven't actually seen a team fight to team fight Turtle yet. Most of them have just been a thing after team fights happen. They're down an objective and they go for it. So 4 May is going to focus on the turret. Turtle comes up. Looks like the rest of Todak is up there. And Falcon might be looking to respond. We're going to go ahead and start up the turtle now. It's about half health. Ken just around the corner. Yu's actually pretty low here. He's got to be careful, but it's going to be secured here now by Ken. The Hurricane's dance. He might go to safety. Todak looking for an engage. There's the real manipulation come down. Moon's going to be the focus here. Gets stunned though. Naomi has to back off. Dawning Light going to come out. Not picking anyone yet. And they find the turtle.
This has been such an exceptional game for Yumes, I gotta say. Being able to just pick out Naomi from the bushes, understanding map awareness is just so on point. And every time that, let's say, Moon is trying to get engaged on by the members of Falcon, you always see Yumes being able to cover for them. So for now, Moon is still sitting at 3-1-1, and you know how much they're able to scale. So it's just so beautiful to watch. And unfortunately, it feels like Todak is kind of on the behind. Like, they seem to be falling in rotations with the turtle being set up. But wait a minute, something might be happening here.
Oh, they crashed down on Justin. He could be in trouble here. Now back lane, Turnip memory finds another one. Look at that wall. He closes them in. Ken, nice play there with the Hurricane Dance. And they trade here. But Todak down 2. This could be a moment for Falcon Esports to make a move.
I mean, what moves can they do? I mean, bot side's already pushing. Top side, they just were able to collide, and Naomi will have to push this in. Maybe they can get top side, but immediately, he's responding. I think Todak, they made a good timing play. Yes, it didn't work out, but the damage is so minimal.
Oh, man, and talking about damage right there. Naomi's going to survive here, but we're starting to see that. Oh my goodness, that's what we're seeing, the dawning light into the bush.
That was quite insane. I mean, I thought that Naomi would be able to get out of there. I mean, being able to just push it a little bit, that was super good. A really fair trade for the side of Falcon, understanding that they are in the behind at the moment with the side of Todak, but that dawning light was just so on point. And this is what I mean. It feels like, once again, Todak is outclassing Falcon. Another turret is going to be given to them, to their name, and look, Todak once again leading with 2,000 gold.
I think right now Todak is just making these small, very slight split decisions that's making all the difference, you know? Even on top side, when they lost that turtle in the Retribution fight, they still allowed enough space for Chiku to break the top tier 1, and the rest of the team naturally just peeling for each other. Formace, on the other hand, very much like his character, loves these flanks.
Oh, and he's going for another one right here. Formace is going to get killed now as he's taken out. Justin is taken out of the picture as well. Dawning Light, another one. Naomi, you keep getting hit by the snipe, and he goes down as well. Todak in the driver's seat here for the Lord.
Now they have the space to do so. I mean, they're already on the way, but it seems like they might look for another pickup on this board here.
Yumes and Chico playing guard here. Look at the potential, the threat potential of the zone out right here. This could very well just be a free first Lord of the game. Todak going to go ahead and secure this one. There's not much Falcon can do here.
I mean, they took that without Retribution. The cooldown was still on Momo, and that's how much pressure Todak has. He didn't even have to use the Retribution at all, even though there were 3 members from the side of Falcon that were actually in the vicinity. But now, in 10 minutes, we are going to take a look at the items.
Yep, numbers advantage is always working out well, but notice that, I mean, just so many items already built so quickly for Formace at this stage of the game. With Mystery Shop, he's got 3 down to go. So he's very confident when he's taking these trades, especially against Falcon, who currently right now do not have the magic resist to protect themselves.
I feel like there's so much, yeah, as you mentioned, so much magic damage, right? And you're going to have to worry again about Silent. Now, Silent does still have the potential to get somewhere. Now, if you take a look at the gold, right, he's second for their team, but look at the difference here for the side of Todak.
Well, it's clear that Chiku is the driving force for Todak when it comes down to this lead, especially since it is a 5k lead. They're probably going to get the outer tier turrets, which is great. Ideally for Falcon, they don't get caught out here.
Oh, they're going to get caught here. Yellow Flash still going to be okay. That's going to be the torn apart memory consumed. They actually get a turret now as well. Like you just mentioned, they're going to be focusing on the bottom. Naomi is actually quite low. He's got to be careful here. They could be cracking open the base of Falcon here. Yume's just on the side there. There you go. Lord's going to be taken up. Turret still alive here for now. Formace, though, working in the bottom. Oh, but the second come in here. There you go. The base is now opened up. There's going to be the road mutilation come down. Can Momo survive? He's stuck on the wall. He's finally taken out. Silent gets a kill. Big also pick up here for him itemization-wise. So they find a little bit of hope here, but their base is now exposed.
100%. They lost an inhibitor turret in that process, but it's not going to be as easy for Todak to penetrate that base. And I say that because of such high ground that they have with the real-world manipulation. So if they can time it perfectly, I do believe that they have the ability to defend. I mean, maybe just buy more time for the side of Silent to get those really important items to scale up further in towards the late game as we are entering minute number 12.
And we're looking at the damage though. Formace is obviously doing great. Moon following up really quick, but Naomi surprisingly is really evening out the scores in these fights and making sure that he can do enough damage so that Todak actually get punished on these bigger trades. But notice the conceal play.
Oh, they're not going to commit yet. Actually, they find one. Ken's going to push him back. Nice zoning here against the wall. The Hurricane Dance Chiku. Immortality's going to be popped. Can they find the kill here? There you go. Silent grabs one, forcing the flicker out. Goes in with a falling star move. Dawning Light response here. They get the knock up, killing spree over to Moon. They're trying to turn this one around. Meanwhile, Momo and Silent going one-on-one. Oh, look at Naomi finding a target. Can he get another one? He goes in for that one. Now Formace, it could be in trouble here. 2 versus 2. Double kill kill for Maze. This is the power of Julian. Another dawning light. They gotta be careful. For Maze commits triple kill. 1, 2, 3 before getting taken down by Naomi.
4 traded for 4 for both teams. So that was trades after trades. And I gotta say, Naomi played that beautifully well. I mean, she was able to flank from the backside, find those priority targets. But unfortunately, it was just not enough damage to be able to take Todak as a whole. I mean, check out that dawning light, as now we're going to take a look at the instant replay here by TikTok.
Yep, I mean, look at the way that they're playing this, right? They're peeling back here, and I think Todak made one blunder out of this entire play. Formace is doing great, and Moon needs to communicate with Formace when he has this dawning light. Formace could have easily walked back in to pick up that kill on Ken much sooner and responded to Naomi, or even pull back to Momo in towards the mid lane, guiding his way through the purple side of the jungle. But now a technical pause is through. We always got to have one of these, you know? It happens.
You know, we have a pause that's going to be okay. They got to figure things out. But we can talk a little bit about this game as a whole. I mean, it's almost to the point where it looks like Todak is looking to push into base. They could be waiting for that next Lord to really end this game number 1. But what is happening here with Falcon? Do they have a chance, like Turnip mentioned earlier, do they have a chance to actually defend this and turn this around?
I mean, I gotta say, like, I thought it would be completely one-sided for the side of Todak, realizing the rotations that Todak has had in the game. I mean, they were winning on the rotations, they were getting the trades, they were getting the objectives, but every time it seems like when Todak wants to siege, wants to look for a team fight, they always seem to either fall behind or equalize with Falcon.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been the cleanest of fights.
Yeah.
We aren't seeing just consistent wins without taking any losses here. Falcon have been pushing back, and they're playing for what their team composition is going to be better at, which is the later stages of this game. If we have to compare Brody in comparison to Clint, depending on what Brody has built, which we will see later on into the game, Clint will naturally outscale him. If he builds full-on damage, gets a little greedy with it, plays around his Heave, who will eventually do so much damage to the rest of their teams, it's going to be tough for Todak to play anywhere past the 13th, well, a little bit more generous here, 14th minute of the game, considering their lead.
And I was going to say, you know, we talked about this going to the draft, you know, the combination of having a real manipulation plus the Kai. And so far from what we've seen, it worked. Like, they're making it work.
It
right?
was really, really clean how he pushed him all the way from the buff. I didn't even think of that happening. I would have immediately thought, nearest wall, get him locked down, but no, really pushing him out of position to not have that cover.
And which allowed, I believe it was Silent that was just in the base, getting the shots off, right? And then he finally gets the kill, gets the immortality out, and that really plays a part here. So these are these moments for Falcon Esports to actually pull this off. I mean, they can defend, and we'll see how this plays out, but right now, Todak definitely, like you said, 14 minutes, they're going to struggle past that certain mark. So, but speaking of Todak, these guys have experience, and this is to say, they're so well decorated. M1, M2, M3, MSC 2021, and the SEA Games Vietnam 2021.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Gideon, but they also did MPLI as well. So in total, they have 7-time international experience.
Absolutely. They've got so much international experience in comparison to the rest of, well, I would say a lot of Malaysian teams and especially professional teams in the MPL where they've dabbled in it. They didn't get the expected results, but they aren't able to come there a second time. But Todak, every single time people question them about, hey, are you consistent? You guys are throwing these games. You guys are trolling so often in regular Justice Warriors on the keyboards. But Todak, with this lineup, does that not tell you enough? No matter how much they experiment, they will always make it to an international tournament.
I think there's a lot to say about that. You know, when you have this type of international experience like this, like that's on your record right here, right? So when you're a team going up against Todak, knowing that full well, I'm sure that has a part to play in it. And I gotta say, you know, Falcon is actually doing a pretty good job. They're doing better than I expected. Turner mentioned it earlier as well. She kind of expected a one-sided game here for game number 1. But I would love to see Falcon Esports go ahead and hold on a little bit longer. They have a lot of great tools to actually counter the plays or decisions, because I still think Silent has enough time here. Naomi finds the targets that he wants to, then this could actually turn around. We've seen it happen before to Todak, I believe, in your own MPL, you know, and they have had games kind of slip out of their hands. So we'll have to see how this plays out here. And we are going to be jumping back into this game. They've got things figured out. Let's see how the game number 1 plays out.
let's see what's happening right now. It does seem like Todak is just going straight for that next objective with the Enhanced Lord.
Okay, right now, Lord's going to be taken here by the side of Todak. So they go ahead and secure that. Real World Miller's going to come down. Dawning Light shows the damage, but they find no kill just yet. Momo could be in trouble here. Gets the CC. Mega kill for Naomi. Right now, it's going to be a 1-for-3 trade. Was the Lord worth it?
Come on, I am so impressed by that. You gotta say, that was such a good team fight for the side of Falcon. Sure, they lost the Lord because they came to that area a little late, but for the most part, come on, 3 trades on the board?
I think that was a little too good. I feel like Todak made the right decision to rush this Lord because this is the breaking point for their team composition, right? Now, Falcon, 14 minutes. This is where Falcon will start to scale. And now this Luminous Lord is basically wasted and Todak can't really capitalize on it. Even if it was a 4v5, they would get another inhibitor target. The mid one specifically, maybe a little bit of damage on the bottom inhibitor too. And that's as much damage Todak could actually push for to pressure Falcon.
I feel like this is the time. This is a better time than ever to start opening up the map for you because Falcon Esports, look, they still have that tier 1 turret to deal with in the mid lane. They're about, I believe it's 1 hit away. Their mid lane inhibitor turret's going to go down. So they've got to be able to find, again, a pick off and then make a play around that. I don't think they can actually send maybe Yellow Flash around the map to try to push something because there isn't really a safe position for him to go just yet with what Todak has.
I mean, the problem is right now, right? If they want to go for a team fight, you'd expect the Ruby, let's say, to get some people from the side of Falcon with the I Am Offended, get the CC, and so they can really follow it up with the damage coming in from Brody and, let's say, the Xavier. But the issue is, every time, let's say, the Ruby wants to initiate, then they're leaving the backline exposed. And every time that happens, Falcon has an upper edge. As now we're going to take a look at the items here in the 15th minute.
Naomi is definitely scary. He's already got more than enough armor penetration to basically cut through anyone with a blade of head disease for the extra bit of burst. And I think it's important that Chiku really has to be guarded well because he is one of the few win conditions that Todak actually has and are designing their composition around. It's all about peel. It's all about falling backwards and letting Falcon just get shredded running it down.
What I'm wondering too is having, the CC there now with Moon. Like you mentioned, they have to protect Chiku, right? But if Moon is taken out of the picture, you still have to worry about Formaze on the Julian because a lot of times when Xavier's picked, right, it's that CC on a short cooldown that works really well. Also the radius on it. So we'll have to see how they do handle that. But right now, there's a lot of just push and pull going. Looks like Momo was trying to get some vision there. Now Yellow Flash going to get pulled here by the I'm Offended. Real World Midlane is going to come down, gets the lockdown onto the wall. Moon is taken out of the picture. They find a 1-for-1 trade.
I love that, right? We were talking about how it was very difficult to, secure that backline for the side of Todak, but I think they've read this already from the side of Falcon. They know how Falcon wants to play. Every time they go to a team fight, they have to be on the lookout for Naomi coming in from the flanks, and that's exactly what they did. And this is just such a huge adaptability skill from the side of Todak now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, unfortunately for Todak, their choices of battle spells is starting to hurt them now, right? I mean, Purify is good all around, but specifically Sprint, it's great for kind of playing this style that they want to pull back. But when they get caught, and especially with the quality of life changes you got from Akai, you don't have that reactionary speed anymore. It comes out pretty quick with the Hurricane Dance.
Now, Lord going to be up here. Ken trying to get some vision. Dawning Light going to come out. Short cooldown indeed. So they're going to be okay as they continue to work on the Lord. Not going to reset just yet. It's about half health here. But I don't know if Todak actually wants to commit fully to this just yet because, again, Falcon Esports actually has the gold lead. Their itemization, like you mentioned, Gideon, is pretty good, if not done, to the point where they could have an advantage here. And Todak has to do this very surgically, not to lose anyone, especially with Naomi. And now here it comes. Yumes goes down. Immortality going to be popped, and they follow up here. Flickers out Naomi. Could be looking for a kill, but gets spotted out. Is he going to be able to convert something? Gets the monster kill. Yumes taken out. Dawning Light going to come out too. Can they push them back here? They find the 1-for-1.
They find the 1-for-1 trade, and this is going to be the roamer for the roamer, so it is still equal on all accounts, but Ken goes in once again.
Falcon Esports still going to give this one a go. Real World Millage comes down. Momo trying to zone Ken out here, taking quite a bit of damage himself. Silent trying to follow up, finds him, and now they have to reset the Lord. Yellow Flash is zoning them out. Lord's going to go ahead and power up here, but look at the base of Falcon Esports. They definitely have to defend that one. They can't commit everything to the Lord just yet. Todak knows this. Mind you, there is still a dawning light here on Moon, but Falcon Esports right now going to go ahead and start this Lord up. It's about half health already. They find a kill on 4 Maze. This could be the moment that Falcon Esports was looking for. Dawning Light's gonna come out, not getting the Lord, they secure it. Falcon Esports now with this lead. GQ's gotta be careful. They're zoning him out as much as possible. There's the knockup. Ken finds the Hurricane Dance into the wall again. Immortality's gonna be popped. Mega kill found here, and Falcon Esports taking a huge lead.
I mean, Falcon with a 1,000 gold lead previously with that team fight, with the way that they set up that team fight so perfectly, so systematically, they are now leading with 5,000 gold to their name. They have an enhanced Lord as well, marching down at that bottom side, and once again,
they push onto the base here for Kodak. There you go. Can they get a kill? This is exactly what I was talking about. Silent popping off here. 19 minutes of the game. Falcon Esports deep down to the base of Todak. Can they defend?
that is definitely the question. I mean, 2 members are left standing for the side of Todak. There is a 8-second countdown for Chico to be brought back up, and that's going to be super important, as now it is going to be Falcon really pushing it into the base.
Base can be cracked open here. Yellow Flash goes in with a falling Star Moon, trying to zone them out, looking for a kill. Hurricane Dance again. Momo taken out of the picture. Silent finding one himself. Yu's trying to buy some time here, the best he can. Lord's going to be taken care of, but look at that. Ken, now another Immortality's going to be popped. 4 base taken down. Falcon Esports in control here. Going to be taking game number 1.
Wiped out for the side of Falcon Esports, as they are going to have game number 1 to their hands. Todak, remember guys, don't fret, chill, right? It is still a best of 2. They do have one more chance to be able to even it out for the first match.
Ooh, what a game. There's a lot to look, but well done. First of all, for this first game for Falcon Esports, they have done a really difficult job here, especially with the amount of pressure Todak was putting on top of them. But man, one macro mistake coming out from the Malaysian representatives allowed Falcon back into the game and press on all the way to the end. I did not think that was a kill angle.
I didn't expect this to happen either. You know, we talked about it even during the technical pause, right? Like, we expected Todak to just kind of control this whole game, and to an extent, they were for a moment. And then again, Falcon Esports finding the right pickoffs, the right moments. And I mentioned this early on in the game. I said, Silent, this is the best thing you can have right now. A 0-0-0 Clint, and look what happened. Look what the end result was. So this is a great class performance here from Falcon Esports. You know, the team that a lot of people were saying we don't know much about them. Well, this is a statement right here.
It's a huge statement. It's not just a statement, it's a huge statement. Come on. I mean, on the caster desk, we were talking about our predictions and so on and so forth, right? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, only one of us predicted Falcon, and that wasn't even on the English broadcast stage, okay? So they've completely surprised us with such an amazing first game. I felt like even though they were behind, they were still able to find the good trades on the board, and it just took one moment. And that's the beautiful thing about Mobile Legends, right? You can't close your eye for a second, because a second is all it takes. A single team fight, let's say, a single rotation, a single moment is all it took for Falcon to just take it back, just tear it away from the hands of Todak.
I don't know about you, but I don't play with my eyes closed.
I do.
I'll tell you that.
That's why I'm so good. I'm like epic
now we know.
right now.
Yeah. Have you not heard her nickname? Her nickname is the Daredevil. She absolutely just crushes. She plays the game
100%.
blind, and she's still like as good as everybody else. It's crazy. It's nutty.
I'm not like the Silent team. I do not sleep. I always sleep.
There you go. Man, you heard it here first. The turn of the Daredevil on the desk. And man, I gotta say, you know, we're gonna take a look here shortly about to break that game down. But I mean, already this is kind of a setting pace. What I'm also wondering when we talk about this later in the post game is was this a mistake in terms of composition that they went with, you know, with having the Julian plus the Xavier? You know, that's a big question.
Things coming into this game. Will Toad away with the Barretts just so that the Matilda can give the Barretts a little bit more extra mobility?
Anybody else getting the odd feeling that this Valentina might not go into the role we expected to go? I'm feeling like this is definitely leaning more towards either EXP and gold rather than traditional mid.
Jungle, guys. Come on.
I don't know about jungle.
Let's take a page out of Aura Fire from Indonesia and, try it out in jungle.
If anybody is going to throw that into the jungle, I would say my top pick would be Todak.
Really?
On the list, yes.
That's how
Other than Aura
spicy
Fire.
they can be.
Definitely, that's how crazy that they can go and they're willing to do it at some of the most crucial times. It's scary and it's very annoying.
But I just feel like in this situation, right, we could say Barrett's for jungle, right? But Valentina going in the side lane, I mean, we've seen, I guess, the track record of Valentina being, like you said, it's got a high rune rate. So I feel like that's one of the advantages, right? You can play it pretty much anywhere and have it work for your team. So having the Matilda, having the Barretts here, very solid options, especially, pair that circling eagle and being able to help people escape with the guiding wind is huge. That's huge. All the entire portion of the game. A Matilda played to the level of what people are probably used to watching from, Blacklist out there. And there's teams that are now playing Matilda to that level. So this is something that people really have to watch out for. And Falcon, having this Esmeralda here too, I feel like it's if it's going against a Valentina, I don't know how that's going to pair up for her.
It's not going to pair up too well, but the moment we do see Esmeralda make it into that, full item build, that's when she's going to completely outscale her. And it's like, oh, you can do as much damage as you want. You can CC me all you want. I literally can outsustain everything you have to throw at me, considering that your first 3 picks, Matilda isn't really going to do that much.
Yeah.
Barats, that's another thing that's not really going to do too much, especially considering that that Esmeralda will have the movement speed to actually outmaneuver him. But more importantly, Falcon is prioritizing. Get rid of the Dyrok, get rid of the Claw, make sure we get rid of the terrible matchups, and now we have a guaranteed way of, if we fail in the early game, late game is ours.
This is interesting. The carry being picked up for the side of Falcon. Okay, so I do understand a bit why they chose that, but compared to other heroes that you can place into that gold lane, is this a viable option? I do understand that she can burst the Barretts down in the later stage of the game, but was this worth it, Gideon?
Personally, I don't think so, because if Chiku wants to be really abusive in lane, again, both Brody as well as Popo and Koopa easily will bully this carry out unless carry can get a good light cartwheel in to get the trade, maybe 20% of their HP, and I think it's going to go even, but until I see that happen, it's not going to go well.
I'm surprised they didn't go with, picking up the Clint once again, going with that combination because it worked pretty well for them, but they don't take that, so last pick's going to come out here for the side of Todak. It's going to go ahead and be the Famous and the Popo and Koopa, like you mentioned, which is a good option here for them. It is mine.
I'm more surprised that they actually wanted to go with the newly changed Famous into the Esmeralda matchup. It's not an easy matchup, but I think with the quality of life changes to the Molten size might give you a little bit of an edge, but I'm excited to see Falcon on this Lancelot. Let's go.
This is a comfort hero for their jungle. This is a really huge comfort pick for Ken. So, and the way that they picked it last, it doesn't seem like they, from the side of Toda, has a counter for it per se. I mean, what are their sources of CC that they have on the table right now?
Well, they can take all the CC that is on the other side because they have the Valentina, right? So they have that, but also I believe it was Moon taking the Valentina to mid, if I remember right. So they have that, but to answer your question in terms of especially a Lancelot, like I feel like there has been a little bit of a fall off for Lancelots, in at least from what we've seen in the Philippines, but we'll see how it plays out. We're jumping into Land of Dawn, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to game number 2 here, Todak versus Falcon Esports.
We're gonna see how these compositions fare against one another and if they clash or not. I mean, for the moment, it does seem like Falcon has an upper edge in the sense that they can go for these really early game pickoffs with the Selena, with the Lancelot as well. But from the flip side, already Yellow Flash getting chunked down there.
Really aggression here, cutting those waves, so Yellow Flash can be there. But wow, look at Moon as well. He must have taken, the flame shot, not going to connect, had to flicker out too, so taking quite a beating here in the mid lane to start with.
This is some good plays. Falcon sees, they are trying to chunk out Esmeralda very early on. Loses out their initial wave so that Thomas can hit level 2 because he's strong at level 2. But then they press mid and they might even get a kill on the 4 base. Can they get it?
Oh, man.
but it's close, guys. It's super close. I mean, look at the aggression that Falcon is putting onto the members of Todak. I mean, 3 members already forced recalls in the first few minutes. And this is exactly what I was mentioning. This is not a regular Selena. This is Justin Selena. So we'll see how that pans out now that we are going to start setting up for the next neutral objective, of course, in that turtle.
Yeah, and going back to the point of Lancelot, right? Lancelot, I just feel like he can still do some pretty crazy things, but overall, it takes that certain situations for him to really kind of pop off to an extent, but at the same time, you know, you can actually make quite a few plays with the Thorn Rose, the Phantom Execution, and kind of finesse the other team if you're able to pull that off. But this is going to be a tough one, I feel like, for Falcon. And right now, Naomi scouting out Yumes here. Now, as you mentioned, Turtle's going to be up here shortly. We'll see how they play this one out.
I think they have to take their time here. I'm guessing that Todak is realizing that they don't have as much pressure as they would like to, and now these earlier rotations coming in from Falcon, knowing that they are top side strong, will take advantage of the situation.
Now Turtle gonna be low. There's a Phantom Execution. It's gonna be secured here by Momo. First turtle of the game going to the hands of Todak. Also first blood, this time by 4Maze, and they get this small lead here actually. And you know, we're talking about turtles, right? Turtle objectives early on. We've seen it before where teams have all 3 turtles, let's say of the entire game, and they can still fall short. But these minute shields that they get, I mean, these little bit of advantage can play a part here, especially with the lineup that they have. And I want to make a point too, just a side note here. We're seeing one of the Transformer skins in this game.
I love it. It's so beautiful. But like on that note about Turtle, I think it's important if they use it to their advantage. I mean, taking Turtle is great. You do get a little bit of gold and and so forth. But if they can't utilize it in terms of pickoff, in terms of team fight, I don't know how much they can extract from the huge potential that actually a Turtle can give you.
And look at this right now. They're bowling the jungle here because Ken, I mean, that's what they have to do, right? Momo, he's so tanky, especially this early on. We're only 3 minutes in, but he actually just goes into the jungle when he wants, and that's kind of the strength of Barrett's. At the same time, you have the Daytona's welcome, right? You can kind of pick a target out, especially if you can find the right target. So this could be an advantage for Todak, but right now, a little skirmish comes off here into the river, but nothing going to commence out of that.
This was a risky play by Falcon. I mean, understanding that Todak did pick up the Valentina, I do understand that Naomi using this Akai is like a huge OP here, but that has to wait.
All right, now again, Naomi popping the Hurricane Dance. They're not going to be able to find a kill just yet. Ken could be in trouble. Into the jungle he goes. Now Chico just playing around here on the border. Naomi going to take quite a bit of damage. Yumes goes in with Circling Eagle and finds one here. Another one on the board for Todak.
Oh, finally, the kills are coming through, and Todak has been like playing through. Oh, wait a minute.
A little missile arrow action right there. Chiku, goodbye. You got to watch out for those arrows, and Justin lands another one here. Now Turtle going to be up. Justin has been pretty accurate, I feel like, with these missile arrows. And this could give the sign for Falcon Esports to take the Turtle here. Momo, though, just around the corner, who's going to grab it, and they do. Falcon grabbing this Turtle the game. Momo could be in trouble here. Gets the Thorn Rose. That's going to be a kill over to Yellow Flash.
Such huge cover coming in from Yumes, though. I do understand that he can do a bit more, but in the sense, he's so good at being able to communicate. The synergy from the side of Todak is definitely there. Just, oh, but wait a minute, what's going down there? Who got taken down? Chico, what happened?
Yep, he got caught out by Naomi once more. Naomi is just doing so much work. They're very proficient Akai players, I have to admit here. Doesn't matter who's playing it, somebody is going to catch Chico, and you don't get to see that very often. But now Todak, I think they have to make a decision right now. How are they going to maneuver? Because they can't seem to use the pressure that they create and the early rotations that they make through the mid lane to actually capitalize on it. Oh my goodness, again!
Wow,
Can't this guy miss an arrow already?
I'll tell you what, he's got the accuracy here. Forme is actually doing quite a good job here, going against 1 versus 3. The rest of the team's going to show up here just win out, and that is quite a performance so far from Formaze. He also had the Vengeance earlier. Still going one-on-one here with Yellow Flash, showing his dominance. He's saying not today.
Wow, that was huge for the side of Formaze. I mean, what 3v1 situation being able to get out with the guiding wind given to them by Yums? This was one of my main questions, right? I understand the Thamus was buffed in the current patch, and how does that fare against the Esmeralda? Would you normally see the Thamus winning lane or the Esmeralda?
Well, in the early stages, yes, Thamus would win the lane until Esmeralda is able to get the first 2 items in her kit. Oh, they missed her armor, almost hit again. I mean, Moon, he's walking. The thing is, when you're thinking of a pro player walking in straight lines, most people, and especially for pros, would assume instantly, oh, you're going to juke it. So walking in a straight line really freaks them out. It's rather frustrating.
And this is, maybe this is the new eternal battle here with Thamus and Esmeralda, but now the rest of the team going to go ahead and focus in the mid. Turtle's going to be up again. This is the 3rd one of the game. They could be looking for initiation as Naomi pops the Hurricane Dance. Meanwhile, gotta watch out for Moon too. Certainly Eagle's gonna come out. Ken could be in trouble here. Daytona's welcome. It's gonna get eaten up. Momo finds a target. There's a kill going over to Moon. Yellow Flash is actually gonna be in trouble here. Gets retribution. Taken down by Momo. And this is gonna be a nice sign for them to go ahead and take this turtle for the game.
That's what I was mentioning before. I mean, I told you guys, right, earlier on, I was like, Falcon made a huge risky play, bringing out the Akai in the game, understanding they are going against the Valentina, because that deadly spin was just so huge for them to be able to take 2 members from the side of Falcon down and give them enough space, give them enough momentum to be able to take the next objective on the board. So that is 2 turtle to the side of Todak, and that's not just stopping there. They're going for another turret as well.
Yeah, right now another arrow is going to go ahead and land here. And one thing about Selena, because we actually see Selena quite a bit before in all the MPL regions, and you got to give it up here to Justin, right? Landing arrow after arrow. Does that eventually fall off as the game goes on? Because it's very strong early on. Or is it always going to be a threat here, Gideon?
It's always going to be a threat. One arrow can really make a difference in a team fight if you get the right target at the right distance. And look at now, Cam, he is getting afraid. He gets... this is what I'm talking about. Every single time, I feel like I'm cursed at this point. I'm about to say, oh yeah, Falcon's doing great, they lose a fight. Todak's doing great, they lose a fight. And now another one's about to break out.
You say it and it happens, man. This is some other type of casting. But here we go. Now actually just the fight here for these objectives in the jungle too. And time after time, Justin finding the targets. If he can continue to do that through the game, they're going to be in a nice position here to possibly take game number 2 from Todak. But again, we saw the items a little bit ago, and notice there is a minor gold advantage here for Todak. Is their scaling here for this game a little bit better than Falcon?
I mean, yes, I would agree that it's actually a lot better for Falcon in comparison to Todak. And I think Todak, they have to play really smart in their team fights, right? It's all about taking the right fights at the right time. And a lot of it is going to be driven by the 2 main carries, the 2 main supports here for the EH, Moon, and as well as Yus.
Oh man, another lockdown here in the wall. Momo could be in trouble. Gonna guiding win out of there. Yellow Flash trying to zone them out well. Again, this is all for these jungle objectives here. It's just skirmish after skirmish. Moon gets flame shotted by Justin before Yellow Flash is actually taken out of the picture too. Now they're going back to the base, retreating here. Now the Lord is up, but these are some big plays happen here on the jungle.
Yeah, huge. 1-for-1 trade for both teams. It is going to be that mid lane for that EXP lane, but the problem is, it is still Todak being able to take 2 more turrets on the board. So what we saw in game number 1, where Falcon was able to kind of, alleviate the situation, it's a little bit similar. Now Todak is quite in the lead, 2,500 gold to their name. They have 6 turrets as well, and with the space, they might be going for this Lord.
Well, they're going to be sitting on top of it for now. I think it's going to be a roll of a die 50-50 for either side. Todak haven't hit the 32k mark, which means they haven't hit their next item power spike in comparison to Falcon, who's very close behind. So it's risky to do it now because there's no guarantee. I'm curious, what items is Formace actually going for? He is a lot tankier and he can sustain a lot harder than I would have expected.
Yeah, I mean, and right now they're actually going to go ahead and focus on Naomi once again. Has to pop the Hurricane Dance to survive. And right now, like you mentioned, what is Formace doing? Because they are quite tanky. You're talking about a Barrett's plus the Thamus here. Another arrow is going to land here. Lord's still not going to be committed on just yet. Moon does have the ultimate of Naomi, so that could be used if they decide to find a pick or a play here. Both teams got to be very careful on this Lord.
I love the way they're just dancing with each other right now. They're looking for the right opportunities. They're looking for the right arrow to land, perhaps. But unfortunately, what we see is that it keeps landing onto Moba.
Oh, there it is, Naomi. But look at the jungle here, too. Chico's in trouble now. There's going to be the Thorn Rose. They find one. Lord's going to go ahead and reset. But look at the top as well. A little 2 versus 1 action. Yellow Flash has to be careful. There's the Abyssal Arrow. Justin joining back here. Yellow Flash, 2 versus 2 now. They find the immortality here. They got to be careful because the rest of the team is just around the corner. Ken, now looking on the target. He's in trouble. Ken, can you find the kill? Justin is still alive before he finally gets taken out. Now Naomi going to be focused down here. Momo and Moon, look at them go.
Man, 2 for 2 trade there between Todak as well as Falcon, but the way that they were able to separate those team fights into like 3 mini team fights was definitely the way to go.
That was ingenious from Todak. That was ingenious. If nobody else saw that, I'm going to tell you, Yums, he's pulling away and he's trying to lead on and bait 2 people to chase him when Falcon could have easily wiped the rest of their team with or without Yums. Yums was the non-factor, but Falcon had their laser-focused eyes on him and they just couldn't catch him until the very end, which allowed Todak to actually bounce back from some of their death timers to rejoin these fights. Now, notice that the entire fight, top side was getting pushed in. It was a blunder on Todak's side, but they made up for it.
Oh man, right now, that whole team fight was very strategic and all the little, actually it wasn't even a team fight, it was like mini skirmishes that resulted into a team fight and just a pandemonium here. And again, this is just the first Lord. No one able to secure it just yet, but you know, at this point in time, Falcon Esports has to be very careful here because we saw the power of having those kind of beefy boys, especially in 4-Maze, you know, having the Vengeance. And the way he's building this Thamus, he lasts quite a while here as a front line. But now Yellow Flash can be in trouble. Actually going to be just a fine here. So again, no one committing just yet.
No one committing just yet. They are still waiting once again for that proper strike because you saw the Akai just, you know, flicker in, look for some initiative on the board, but unfortunately it didn't pay too well. But once again, an engage is happening.
Oh, Yums doing what Gideon talked about earlier. He's trying to bait some people out here. 4-Maze popping the Vengeance going on here. Oh, they find Yellow Flash. That's going to be a nice pickup. They could go and just get the Lord now as Falcon is down 1. Also, lanes being pushed in. This is the perfect time for Todak to take an objective.
Such a beautiful play now. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, right when we were about to get into the climax, I swear, it's international tournaments and it's always me. I'm cursed.
We're sharing a desk with the guys.
It's all right. I mean, for a minute, we have some time to rest. I think Naisu's a bit flabbergasted, perhaps, with how much action has just been happening from the get-go. I mean, what happened in those last few minutes?
So, a lot of the macro play coming out from Todak is very simple. They know that they have pushing waves, they set up for pushing waves, and then they start dancing around the Lord. They're telling Falcon, hey, if you come on over here, maybe we'll get into a bit of a fight. Maybe you're gonna, and you know for a fact that Falcon will win that overall team fight. That's why you can see Todak pushing in and then pulling back out, wasting their time as the top and bottom lane start to push in. You notice immediately Ken sees that the bottom side is pushing, so he has to go and match it, clear it off, and come back. But what about top side? What do you do then? That's when Todak start to pull the triggers. Let's get a little bit more antsy. Let's get a little deeper. And if we get this catch, it's even better for us because we can guarantee a Lord. With this single pick, there is not enough members for Falcon to take on Todak by this Lord. They have to send 1 person up top to clear that wave and 3 people to delay this Lord as much as possible, maybe even get a pick.
In addition to that, I also think it's really important, even if they go in for team fights, let's say 5 versus 5, it all depends on the timing of when they take out the deadly spin.
Yeah.
Because I see like that being like a huge factor, right? Because if, let's say the Valentina, let's say if Moon does it first, it does seem like it pays to their advantage. But if they're able to land a really good deadly spin on one of the members from the side of Todak, like they did before, it usually sways into the hands of Falcon themselves.
Well, we're jumping right back into the game. And I was going to say, I believe Lord was going to be secured here. So it is taken by Todak. Now Naomi doing work on a Moon. Moon, you got to be careful. You're not that strong as an Akai. And he gets taken down by his mirror. Naomi now going to be focused here for Formays. Eaten up. Momo finds a target. Can they get this one? Silent goes down. Big pickup here. Double kill for Formays. And now working to crack open the base for Falcon. They're going to try their best to defend here. Formays going to back off here. They clear the minions. They buy a little bit of time for now.
Now this changes everything, right, Gideon?
This changes a lot of things, but while we still have time, let's quickly pull up the item list. I'm not sure what Ken exactly is building. He's looking like he's got a lot more HP than he should. Naturally, for a Lancelot, I'm guessing he's probably got like, yep, there we go, Sky Gun Intel.
And right now, they're going to go ahead and get this middle turret. It's actually still standing, but the Lord's going to be on top. They get the flicker out too. Phantom Execution going to come out. They give him Justin. Yo, you're in trouble. Mega kill for Formays. Now the base exposed here as the mid turret's going to go down too. They have to take out this Lord to buy some more time. They're minus Justin. That's going to be a tough one for Falcon Esports to defend, but so far they're doing it.
Luckily, they still have the carry, right? We doubted this pick in the drafting phase, but this is exactly what a carry can do, right? If the Lord does come into their base, if the Lord does siege, the carry does have that possibility. But what I'm worried about, in a sense, is that the carry is lacking so much in range. If we compare it, let's say, to the Bumble and Koopa, like Todak, they have the siege, but what does Falcon have to be able to give them an edge in terms of that range problem?
Well, I think it's space.
There's
I think
the item.
a lot of it has to do with space. But now looking at the items, we're noticing. Oh my goodness, Ken went with a full tank build. He's got no damage. He's got no damage whatsoever. He's got Curse Down. He's got Twilight Armor. Okay. He's at least he has a Thunder Belt, which gives him some form of true damage and actually works in favor with his max HP. But he knows for a fact that he's going to get burst down relatively quick, so he'd rather go with this for the safer route to try and take on Shifu.
All right, now they're actually going to look at the potential here from Moon. So they're actually going to go ahead and get that heavy spin out now, and so they're down that, but still there's some potential here for Todak to push in. Actually, they're doing quite a good job at keeping them from resetting too. They might look at the push and pull that is happening. Falcon Esports does not want them to go back, but this is what we were talking about, the push and pull. Todak saying, hey, come here, guys, and then Falcon pulling off. So what is the moment for Falcon Esports to turn this around? I mean, Todak is just doing a great job so far. What does Falcon Esports have to do here, Gideon?
All right, so the stalemate comes down to one simple fact. If Moon has his ultimate, Naomi doesn't want to stay close to him. He doesn't want to give him that free ult. And if he does, that's when both sides are going to be holding it against each other. Who is going to pop it first? And whoever pops it first usually is going to die first.
You don't want to lose a member now, because now this Luminous Lord, the powered up Lord, is going to be for the taking, and they only have one turret left in their base for Falcon Esports, so they've got to be careful. They can't lose Justin, right? He doesn't have the immortality here. Silent also pretty exposed, just playing that carry with a little bit of low range here. They're going to go ahead and poke just a little bit, but again, look at Formays able to just zone out Ken here. No one wants to give the go signal on the Lord just yet. Look at the damage, though, coming out from Silent. It could be beneficial here. Formays once again going 1 versus 2 in the mid lane. They might actually go ahead and start up this Lord for now.
Yep, but notice, top wave, it's building up. It's going to happen all over again.
Oh, the Abyssal Arrow is going to land. Falling Star Moon's going to come in. Can they get the immortality from Yumes? It actually flickers out and he's okay. Moon finds the immortality here, and that's the response. But Moon grabs that one. Lord's going to get taken out. It's secured here by Ken with the Retribution, and now they're turning around. Naomi's got to be very careful. He's got a little bit of regen. Justin goes and goes down here. Moon, nice pickup there. Another immortality is going to be popped. Can they follow it up on this? And they fall here. 3 down for Falcon Esports.
Oh no, they have the Lord in their hands, but unfortunately they were forced to lose 3 members in there at the same time. And now what is going to happen here? It seems like Todak, they're going to push for the end, perhaps.
Oh, they're looking for the kill angle right here, but they're going to notice very quickly it's not going to be that easy.
Oh man, right now, Silent, they're actually focused on. Look at the damage from Moon! He's actually going to force him to go back, but Naomi, you can't do much. And this could be it. Todak taking a game, a number 2, evening it out to 1 for 1.
No way that's a kill angle. No way. Oh my goodness. Well done to both of these teams.
100% well done. Wow, Todak played that incredibly well. They understood their winning conditions. They played it to it as well, and eventually they're able to finally even it out with a 1-1. Now, wow, first match of the day, and already a 1-to-1.
That's what we want to see.
This is good, right? Like, this is technically, if you're a fan of either team, this is technically a good scenario.
It's a win.
You can't be angry at it. You can't be angry at this result. But again, this gives a lot of hope, and especially for a young region like Myanmar. Yeah, you're taking on Todak. They are the gatekeepers. They are the benchmark, especially when you're coming into these international tournaments.
Yeah, I feel like this time though, Todak looked a lot better this game, right? And you could see the decision making. You painted that picture pretty much. You know, that kind of decision making that Todak was going for. They played around it really well, especially like having that Matilda, because we see a lot of those movements come in. You know, baiting them out, baiting ultimates out, getting back, either grabbing teammates with a guiding wind or circling eagle. It was a good decision making coming out from Todak. They get the 1-for-1. But again, can be said about the same thing can be said about Falcon Esports, because still I feel like this game, there was a chance that things could have turned around for them, and I just feel like Silent was handled a little bit better this time. Also, having a carry, that range was kind of a problem. Like, you don't have as much range. Their poke was there, but you had a hard time initiating on top of what Todak had.
Yeah, like when you say they had an equal chance to be able to take it, I don't exactly agree just because of the draft alone. I do like the carry pick in some situations, but in this case, she was just too behind in range. I mean, because you had the Popple and Koopa as well as the Matilda on the side of Todak, so it was very difficult to maneuver around, understanding that the Matilda can go in with a guiding wind to disengage and engage, even if the carry wants to go in hard.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there. I think if just to explain it simply, if we took out the teams, we took out the names, and we set them all as the best AI playing robots out there and set them to level 10 difficulty, right? I would say 7 out of 10 times that Todak's composition would generally win against the composition that Falcon actually has. And I think that's something that people need to keep in mind, that the win conditions are extremely narrow, and you have a couple of heroes who are going to struggle naturally against this composition. Take for an example, not only is it just Carry who struggles, it's going to be Selena that struggles. Yes, your stuns are great, but the sustain from Matilda, the repositioning, and the fact that Popo and Koopa are two separate entities. The dog can actually block the arrows.
I think he did.
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah. And, I'll still take the 3 out of 10, man. You said 7 out of 10, I'll take the 3 out of 10.
That's why they're pro players. They will play the odds and turn it in their favor somehow. I don't know. This Sakai pick seems to be coming up the ranks in terms of priority.
I mean, in the sense, I looked at it more to like prio and like OP picks against comfort heroes, and I wanted to see how that clashed in a sense, because Falcon brought in their heroes that they're very comfortable with, but going against a composition that is actually stumping them in that way, apparently it doesn't get them too far.
That's actually a great way to explain how Falcon decided to draft this time. They wanted to go for something a little bit more comfortable, and Todak, yes, they are playing something that they have done before. Maybe Formace on this time was a little bit out of pocket, but then the new meta is coming in, so there's a lot of argument there. But generally, if you look at these compositions, Todak has a little bit more favorability in comparison to Falcon, who wanted to reach a point where they're so far into this late game that Todak won't be able to bounce back and recover from it. Take for an example, Yellow Flash. He's almost there. He just needs one more item to really make that difference, to allow that peel to work for members of his team, especially Silent, who just wants to get into the fight but doesn't have the range to do so, despite the fact, hey, I'm literally full build. Give me just 2 seconds with their tank, I will win this fight.
I gotta say, one of the things that surprised me the most was the build that the Lancelot brought. Like, I understand now, like, the meta's starting to shift. We start to see utility junglers more so than the carry type of jungles, right? But I don't think I've ever seen a Lancelot in the Indonesian scene that has built and itemized this way.
I would agree with you here. I do think it's a little bit odd, and I do think there should be some kind of logic going behind it. But if you look at the post stats, maybe we'll get a better idea. Maybe it outperformed what we were expecting. And yes, it got pretty close to carry. 59,000 out damaging a Popo and Koopa coming in from a Todak, as well as getting relatively close. Actually, not as close as I thought it would. Generally close to Valentina as well. So very interesting numbers.
Yeah, that's kind of like the build of a Karina almost, right? I mean, that kind of build item that they went with Lancelot there. And the game MVP here, going to be Yumes from Todak on that Matilda, like we talked about throughout the game. You know, this is just a great performance on a Matilda, like I mentioned, where I'm so used to seeing Matildas be played to the highest level, and I gotta say, Yums did that perfectly here.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just the Matilda that he could perform on. I mean, I understood that Todak lost that first game, but the way that he was able to play that Ruby was just so flexible as well. He's able to initiate, he can cover, and he's just like an all-arounder type of roamer.
And well, I'm just saying, when we went into the technical pause, we showed the fact that Yums had a pretty good assist rate, and he got the MVP. Coincidence? I think not.
Average assist of what? It was like 9.3, 9.4, something like that. Look at his KDA there, and we're going to see how this unfolded here for the game highlights. And, you know, right now we get to see his beautiful face here. But again, this is just throughout the game as a whole. You'll be able to see here how Todak kind of handled a lot of these situations, right? There were the setups too. Also, I gotta say, Moon did some great things having that heavy spin.
Yeah, I feel like it's odd for a mage player to know exactly where these choke points are to catch two people, especially by Tribrush. You don't see that happen very often. I feel like he's been doing some Kai stuff on the side, but overall, as you can see this push and pull, just notice, look at the minimap and look at the waves. Every single time they're fighting topside, it's getting shoved in. They managed to get a pick off of this clip alone, but topside is getting shoved in, and no matter what, Falcon can't really do anything about it. The macro decision-making by Todak here was just a little bit better.
I mean, going back to Yums as well, I mean, we're taking a look at the highlights, and I just remember this one moment where Yums like dived in with the circling eagle under the turret, and he managed to managed to get out of there alive and get a pick off on the board. It's just the calculation is just so on point from him, and it was just he deserved that MVP to say the least.
I would say this is a great way to open MSC group stages day number 1, right?
Yeah.
This is Group A that we just saw. 1 for 1. I feel like that's probably the best case scenario here for a lot of the fans out there. And, you know, next up, we will be having Group B. So, RSG Philippines versus See You Soon for Group B. So,
see you soon. Now that's going to be really interesting, guys.
I mean, if this first series was anything to set the pace, I'd be surprised. And
we're already surprised. I mean, fuck, come on.
We're ready for it, to be honest.
You see the color I'm wearing?
not.
No, don't go there. Don't you dare go there. This is purple now, I would assume. I'm supporting. You can't do that. You can't do that. No, I'm supposed to be the hosting country. I'm supposed to be the one helping it all out.
Well,
it's okay.
It's okay, man. And, you know, that's the thing. Once again, this is a way to start the day. So I believe we have, there it is, RSG and See You Soon coming up. That's going to be Group B. So the first game for Group B, hopefully, again, this is a tall tale sign for what's going to happen for the rest of the tournament. And Turna, do you have any final thoughts of the first series of the day?
I gotta say, there were so many surprises in that particular game, and I'm excited to see more.
Short and sweet. Gideon.
I can't wait to see how this game plays out, because now we're going to get to see the Philippines up against See You Soon, a team that everybody is taking very quick note of, and hopefully it's a good show.
Well, we're going to take a short break before we join back for Group B. We hope you guys enjoy, and sit tight. We'll be right back.
ashes keep getting stronger. Races run, hit it hard, giving the best shot. Going in for the kill, let them bite the dust. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, but before us they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright in crimson eyes. Our spirit never dies. We are supremacy. Make no apologies. Fight on to the last drop of blood. Fight on to the last beat of heart. Life is a battle win every game with the magic flowing in our veins. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, but before us they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright in the eyes. Our spirit never dies. We are supremacy. Make no apologies. Supremacy. We are supremacy. We are supremacy. Slay the enemies, bury the monsters. Rise from the ashes, keep getting stronger. Races run, hit it hard, giving the best shot. Going in for the kill, let them bite the dust. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, but before us they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright in crimson eyes. Our spirit never dies. We are supremacy. Make no apologies. Fight on to the last drop of blood. Fight on.
1 here, group stages for MSC 2022. I'm Naisu, joined here with, again, Eterna and Gideon. And real quick, MSC 2022 is powered by Moonton, of course, presented by TikTok Live. And also shout out to our partners in esports, Secret Lab, and media partners, EGG Network and Media Corp. Guys, we saw the first series. We saw somewhat of a surprise, and it was a 1-for-1 between Group A, Todak and Falcon Esports. Now we're moving over to Group B, RSG Philippines versus See You Soon. What are you guys expecting? Eterna, how is that gonna, what are you expecting from this? RSG Philippines and See You Soon. I'll wait to be last.
Okay. I mean, we gotta talk about this, right? Like, on paper, it does seem like RSGPH, they have it in the bag. Why do I say that? Because they were the champions of their respective MPL, whereas from the side of See You Soon, they were the runner-up. So that's already a really huge distinction. But other than that, it does seem like this is different to Falcon, right? See You Soon, they have had a lot of experience on the international stage. But the issue is, every time they do so, they have not been as crazy as we wanted or expected them to be. So at least to say they have not performed well. But the good thing is, for all See You Soon fans out there, they have actually changed their roster. So it's a different lineup from M3, and perhaps this is just the change that they particularly need in this upcoming game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Eterna. I think that, the fact that See You Soon is back here once again is starting to become, people are getting used to the brand name being shown up in international tournaments, and hopefully they're able to go a lot further in this international tournament than their previous results, and especially as their first benchmark match to be against RSGPH. It's no easy task. I think a lot of teams have been keeping a very close eye, especially on RSGPH and the way that they play and the way that they kind of maneuver themselves, maybe take a couple of notes from their playbook as well. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Well, I can say this about RSG Philippines, man. Their improvement, I would say, from their Season 8 to Season 9 was quite big. And a lot of it was the Demon Kite show before in Season 8. And what we saw in Season 9 and why they were so dominant is because literally every single member of that team improved immensely to the point where, like, it's hard to look at their weak points for RSG Philippines, right? Now, as you guys mentioned, both of you, See You Soon has that international kind of experience, even though they've changed their roster a little bit. But RSG Philippines, I will say this, when they came on site during the regular season, right, it seemed like they were a little bit rattled at first. So I don't know if that's going to play a role here, right? Also the fact that, I mean, there they are on the screen right now, the boys from RSG Philippines. They are, and that's Coach G, I mean, they are prepared for sure. I spoke to them a little bit at, the hotel when I arrived, and I feel like they're definitely ready here. But still, I'm wondering if this is going to affect them at all with this type of experience being in a LAN setup again, because we know See You Soon has that kind of experience for them.
I mean, other than that, you did mention about the coaches, and correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they swap out the coaches, and didn't Panda have like a huge impact in their like immense journey, as well as like the way they stepped up this season?
I heard he moved on to bigger things in his relationship life, especially after they won, right?
I was there.
Ooh.
I saw it firsthand. Yes, again, congratulations, Coach Panda. We actually had 2 proposals during the PL
really?
Philippines. Yeah,
That one I didn't know.
It was pretty cool, man. So Coach Panda isn't physically here, with RSG Philippines, but Coach G, man, he is great with the players. He learned a lot from Coach Panda as well, and I just gotta say they're in good hands. And I mean, at the same time, RSG Philippines they have communication with Coach Panda, right? So it could play a factor, but we won't really know until we get to the game, right? But we are going to be jumping here, taking a look at the schedule, right? So right now, we've already seen, once again, Group A, Todak versus Falcon. It was a 1-for-1. We're jumping to Group B now, so it's alternating here. RSG Philippines versus See You Soon. And then following this, we go back to Group A, Falcon versus Onyx Indonesia. I'm sure you're excited for that one too.
Ooh,
later
100%.
on. But so far, it's definitely started a high note for group stages. And again, as much as I know about RSG Philippines and how they play, I can still see You Soon actually giving them quite the challenge, especially with what they're bringing this time around. So I mean, we'll explore more of that in the draft, but I'm going to ask you, Gideon, you were a little bit surprised with the first time result with Todak and Falcon Esports. What would surprise you here for this matchup, RSG versus CSU?
2-0 CSU. That would be very shocking. I do expect at the very least a one-to-one. That would be a very fair evaluation, and I think a more biased evaluation or even a more reasonable evaluation would be a 2-0 in favor of RSGPH. I mean, again, RSGPH, as you mentioned, have improved a lot, more significantly than I've seen a lot of teams in the MPLs around the region to actually pull this off. But it's time to introduce the lineup. If you don't know them, you don't love them just yet, well, here they are. Iman, Light, Aqua, Demon Kai, and Nats. He knows what he is doing. And I think, everyone talks about Demon Kai. Let's just take a moment and appreciate Light for a second. He knows when to go in and when to go out. Very similarly to how Yum's plays, but I feel like he's a lot more precise with his movement.
Yeah, he was also the MVP of the regular season, if I'm not mistaken, right? But, when we're talking about RSG, it's so difficult. I feel like it's similar to RRQ because all of these players, they are so good. And one of the members that I'd like to highlight is Naths, because I saw one of his games where he was the Esmeralda paired with the Dairoth in lane, but he still managed to win. So that's so insane. As now we're also going to take a look from the flip side. It is going to be the official lineup coming in from CU soon. It is going to be Ra, Boxy CC, Ember Sensei, as well as Felix Boy Loy. And when we're talking about both of these teams, both of these lineups, one of the main things that I'd like to highlight in particular is definitely it has got to be the gold matchup, right? Because Aman, he is reliable, he has such good mechanics, but we usually see him with more traditional picks as compared to Ra, who sometimes brings in these mages. So in this current meta, does that work?
I feel like it can work. Yeah, like you mentioned, Aman is more leaning towards the sides of traditional marksman picks for the gold lane, and it works in his favor. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's going to be tested here during the tournament, right? And it could start here because if you have to kind of adjust to that, kind of adjust to what you're not used to facing, mages in the gold lane or something, which is obviously a viable strategy, it could play a part here. Also, I'm wondering if RSG Philippines is going to be kind of prioritizing or even testing out the Julian pick because, obviously we didn't see any of it previously, so in MPL Philippines. So I'm not sure exactly where they're going, but also at the same time, if you looked at their signature heroes for both teams, it's pretty different.
Yeah, it's two very different spectrums. I totally agree with this. And I think it's time to get a little bit of a taste of it in the drafting phase. So let us begin and start where it deserves to be. See you soon immediately. Right off the gate as RSGPH ban out that Valentina. You can see that See You Soon has responded in kind very quickly. Xavier and as well as the Eve. Mages, in fact, are getting axed very quickly.
Focusing on a lot of Aqua. I mean, Aqua, we've seen Aqua picks here. Akai is actually going to be taken out too, which I feel like has just developed really well as a priority pick. They take out the Valentina, the Eve, the Xavier. So again, Julian not being banned out just yet. I'm wondering if it's enough for See You Soon to experiment with because like we just mentioned, their picks, their favorite heroes, there's a lot of spice, a lot of flavor in there. And Julian, I feel like will add to that. Not sure if they're going to go with it, but on the side of RSG Philippines, we kind of saw more of their signature heroes, their picks is, I don't want to say it's groundbreaking, it's nothing against the norm, but we have seen them pull some things out. Like, for example, Demon Kai usually was that type of assassin jungler, and then he kind of shifted to picking those more stable, objective-based jungler hero picks, and it actually worked really well for them. So here we go. Julian is going to be banned out. Also, the Wanwan response here from RSG Philippines. What does See You Soon want to prioritize?
I'm thinking meta picks. One thing, go for it. It's jungle. I mean, there's still Karina, there's Grok, there's so many good things. Lane even very much fits the See You Soon style of brand. I love that they still got that gusto in them to go for these assassin picks, but RSGPH respond very quickly as well. Their own Franco and as well as Beatrix. That's what I am used to.
That was such a quick pick.
Yeah.
We're used to seeing really quick picks today.
Yeah.
Like match number 1 was quite similar too, but with RSGPH, PH picking up the Beatrix. This is huge, right? They are choosing a really good hero, especially onto Iman, and he is known to be one of like the best Beatrix players in the league at the moment, right? And with the Franco being picked up, it does help them in a way that they do have a source of CC for the Ling if ever the Ling becomes an issue. But the way that See You Soon is kind of, building around it, the Lilia pick is going to come through as well as the Esmeralda.
I'm wondering if they want to prioritize like Dyroth, because Nath's, if he wants to, into the Esmeralda here. We've also seen him play very well in the Thamus. There's the Dyroth, and this is, again, these are pure comfort picks for RSG Philippines. Light on the Franco, I feel like he knows how. I mean, this is mostly the case for any time a Franco pops up, right? You can miss 100 hooks in the game. You land that one important game-winning hook. It could turn the tide here. And yes, Emon on the Beatrix. Nath's going to be locking in the Dyroth here. They want to. I feel like they need a little. They could go a little bit more damage for Demon Kite on his jungler pick, or they could continue to round out that beefy boy lineup, which we've seen them play before, if he goes with something more tankier of a jungle style.
What's your team is
You know what? I think I'm done with it. I'm tired of tank junglers. It's boring. It's really obnoxious. It's really good. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's so boring. I want to see two assassins go at each other's throats. I want to see a Lancelot pick coming out from RSG.
Not jungle build.
Agreed. I can second that. I can stand by that. That is a correct opinion now.
Wait, we saw the Lancelot last game, right? He was pretty much going with a tanky Karina type-ish build going there, and it would be nice, to see some assassin versus assassin action here. I mean, they've already got the Ling on the other side, right? So this could be a time. Now, I have seen Demon Kai play Hayabusa. That could be an option here. He doesn't get the Fanny, so that is a target ban towards him. Now, let's see what RSG Philippines is going to go with. Eterna, how are you liking so far the first picks for See You Soon?
I mean, for the moment, I feel like they're very early game centric because, as you know, Lilia is a very aggressive mid lane and very, I'd say, independent in her own right? She's able to burst down from the get-go, has exceptionally good wave clear. But as I say that, they actually, from the side of RSG, they've actually picked up the Kagura, who has a similar effect. Because when I think about mid laners, I always tend to lean on towards Lilia or the Kagura because they're just so sustainable in lane. They have escape mechanisms, and with the Kagura now, the burst is just there, and it's gonna be huge.
Interesting.
What?
Wow.
I love this.
I mean, this is like we call it the Angeline combo, right?
Yeah.
So there's the Angeline combo that they have there, which could help them. Again, I still am curious what RSG is going to pick for the last pick here for the jungle for Demon Kite. But yeah, you were mentioning Eterna. Having Lilia there, very early game centric, has quite a bit of damage, especially in the glooms and everything, and has the black shoes too to be able to bait certain ultimates out if they really want to, or certain situations. But the Kagura, you always have to watch out for Kagura now in the umbrella action.
Yeah, honestly, I do think that Kagura is a very safe pick. There's not a lot of mages that you really want to play in this particular situation. All of them just don't feel that great. And then you start looking back over at See You Soon's composition, and they're expecting, hey, if you play Hayabusa, you're not gonna have a fun time. Like, you really are. We've got the Hilda on our side. You think that's bad enough? We've got our Ling and Angela combo to run you down. RCPH, make a smart decision. Take the Karina. It's safe. Can you get away with a lot more? Probably not, but it guarantees you to get to level 4 and still make an impact in this game.
If you ever ask me what See You Soon's playstyle is, it's just this. Just full. This is See You Soon in a nutshell. They're going full aggressive in that early game. They're trying to finish as soon as possible, especially with the Hilda coming through as well. It's just so See You Soon, and I like that they're sticking to their roots.
Well, we're going to find out because we're jumping right into game number 1 for Group B, RSG Philippines versus See You Soon. And you guys mentioned your thoughts on the team compositions. I got to say, See You Soon does need to end this quick because RSG Philippines are masters at dragging games out and bringing it to their advantages, and they do have some good scaling potential here for this composition.
Yeah, whereas from the side of See You Soon, they don't have any scaling potential whatsoever. I mean, if you compare it to RSG, right? Because they have Aqua, let's say, on the Kagura, who will definitely scale in terms of her burst, as well as Aman, obviously, on the Beatrix. So they are sticking to that double mage meta that they are very accustomed to. But oh my god, it hits!
That's I mean, Light's going to be on point with these iron hooks, so they got to watch out for that, right? But unfortunately, not enough really follow-up to get that. That could have been some type of early first blood, but right now, I got to say, CHEL'Z has to be careful with the way that they play around this. They really need to buy time for Sensei. He does have the jungle emblem, right? But look at Light once again, doing what Francos do best. Whoever picks them, they get right in the face here of their enemy junglers.
Well, that's the idea. They want to keep on doing this, and he's going to die here. There's nothing you really do against the Hilda and Demon Kite. He has to prioritize his EXP over his laners because he's not going to be effective until he hits that level 4. So it was all about that timing.
Interesting, yeah. So it's okay. So Ember in the mid lane on this Angelina, right? And then the Angela, and then we have Lilia in the gold lane. So I'm thinking here, Emin's going to have a very difficult, just kind of laning phase, if you will, and he's got to be able to find time to farm up, right? So I don't know if RSG Philippines wants to babysit kind of that lane, take care of him, or just say, Emma, you do your best, and we'll bring it into the mid to late game.
I love this. I mean, for the moment, it does seem like RSG, they are trying to look for whatever they can get. They are starting this turtle. But with the way that CHEL'Z has been playing, it's definitely going to be contested. But for the moment, it does fall into the hands of RSG. And interestingly enough, it's going to be interesting because CHEL'Z is actually leading in terms of economy.
I think CHEL'Z at this stage of the game, they don't really have to do too much except wait for RSGPH to make a mistake. Like, if somebody takes a good trade in lane, especially since they're playing topside heavy, they can make a decision of, hey, we can make an executive decision, start looking for these early invades and maybe catch somebody off. We're prioritizing for Iman, but we want to catch Light off as soon as possible.
But in a way, it feels like CHEL'Z has a timer, right? They need to end this as soon as possible, though.
That's true.
Right now, here comes the Bloody Hunt. Look at the burst damage coming out here from Aqua as he grabs a kill. Evens it out 1-1 here. RSG Philippines finding Boxy.
Oh, I like these rotations coming in from RSJPH. Like, especially since Beatrix, okay, you're not going to be able to make it to the top wave in time, so just take your time, switch your weapons, clear up that mid wave, and let's focus on the macro play. And RSGPH is playing this really, really well. I'm not sure what CHEL'Z can, how they are going to force a situation out of RSGPH unless they are utilizing this combo, which I think they might do right here with Ling and Angela.
Yeah, Light waiting patiently on the bush, Emma in there as well. Again, this is what I've said. Like, do you park Light up there so that Emma can have a little bit of better time to farm? You know, meanwhile, Naps and Felix going here 1-1-1. Look at the damage here coming out from this Dairoth pick. Comes in, has to flicker out to survive. That's going to be a kill though. Ra goes down, but in the meantime, the response of Light is also taken out of the picture. 3 members of RSG looking for a kill here in the bottom. Tempest Blade's going to be popped. Should be able to survive off that, but that is an ultimate committed.
To be honest, I like the way that CHEL'Z drafted, but in the way that they actually put the Angela in the mid lane, kind of denies them what they were trying to do, right? Like, their winning condition for the side of CHEL'Z is, okay, go aggressive in the early game, get as many picks, get as many objectives as possible, and try to finish it as soon as possible. But that requires really good rotations. And the problem is, because Angela is so slow on that wave clear, I don't think that they can implement what they were trying to do in the first place, and RSG has actually come out on top here in the 5th minute of the game. I mean, look at that. Another turtle to RSG.
They're playing it slow and steady, and they can keep on doing this until CHEL'Z are going to dry up, and RSG have scaled enough into this game to really not hold back their punches. And macro-wise, yep, there we go. Another catch so easily brought out by Light. Finds another one to make it easy for Aqua, and as well as Iman as well. I think that top side of the map is completely gone. RSGPH in the driver's seat.
There you go, right? And now Nas focusing on Sensei, but he's going to be fine. Going back to your point, Gideon, this is exactly what I was saying, right? Park Light up there for a little bit, give that advantage there to Emma. Now he's pretty much, he's free coasting up there in the top lane, so he's fine. Look at the damage burst they have, and check out the itemization. It's early on, 5 minutes in. How's the items looking?
It's looking great. I mean, Iman, he died, he got dove. It's like, all right, I stayed a little bit too soon, but now I'm walking away with some swift boots and as well as a BOD. What are you going to do about it? And especially for Lilia, who gets attack time and time again. That's on bot side, though.
Nas actually going 2 versus 1 here for quite a while, but he's not going to be able to do much against that Angeline combo. They find a pick here, so that could start something for See You Soon. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, RSG looking for a setup here. Going to miss the iron hook just barely. Rest of the team here now too. They're gonna have to be careful about this one.
Because like on paper, I thought that Ra would be able to burst down the Beatrix, but the way that they're actually playing around that is huge. And she's actually winning in lane. I mean, they lost a turret there already in that top side. I just gotta say, I think the Hilda pick for the side of See You Soon was just a little too greedy. I understand that they maybe picked it up to deny that.
Hooks, Sensei gonna go ahead and push the top like a Turnip mentioned. This is the best thing he can do right now. Go ahead, try to get some gold. Push the waves, force a little bit of pressure so you force Naths up there. But meanwhile, RSG Philippines, look at the damage coming out from the bush. Boxy could be in trouble. Hardcard's going to be committed here on a Boxy. This could be information that RSG Philippines might want to play around here. Now the Lord is going to be up.
Come on, the way that RSG is able to just bait all these very important resources away from See You Soon, minutes away before they're starting that Lord, it's just so insane to watch. The way that they're controlling the game from the get-go, the way they're controlling the space, it's so difficult to see You Soon being able to come back from this. You mentioned earlier this is the best that they could do. For me personally, I feel like this is the only thing that they can do.
Yeah, they are just running out of options here. They're trying to get the purple. They can somewhat secure it for now, but it's just a small victory to a very slow, inevitable death for RSGPH, who, again, they're just not giving See You Soon a lot of space, but also, let's keep in mind that they're not giving See You Soon a lot of information. Every single time they walk up, instantly, you either see one person, he disappears, gone, the rest of the team is already making some money moves elsewhere on the map.
Honestly, this is just standard gameplay from RSG Philippines, and if you notice, like, every single role here is just executed to what they call it in the Philippines is pretty much that Coach Panda's puzzle. This is now also Coach G's puzzle here that we're seeing from RSG Philippines, and the gold lead is continuing to grow here. Itemization is going to be a huge concern. We're going to take a quick pause here, but as I was saying, man, RSG Philippines, this is what I meant when it's hard to find weaknesses, because you might find Emon like they did in the early game, and they know exactly how to respond to it, like in a split second.
Yeah, I think the defense is really rock solid. I think right now they're working off of some really good intel and information about how the enemy team likes to kind of move around the map. So they're just covering these very default spots of how they move. Oh, do they move through river? How exactly do they move through river? Are they going to be sticking close to the wall, or are they going to be moving through tri-brush to get a little bit more aggressive? And once they had a read on them, it became that much easier to reconfirm and double check if they're going to be in a certain place at a certain time. I think that's the interesting thing about RSG, and it's something that I'm guessing Coach Menda has imparted to the rest of the team, because this is some world-class defense.
Yeah.
100% textbook plays though coming in from RSG. I mean, you could feel that in the beginning they were kind of like waiting a bit. Like they wanted to see, okay, we see that See You Soon has such an aggressive early game. Let's see what they can do with it, right? And as soon as that they found like the loopholes, oh, they can't clear mid. Okay, maybe we can rotate faster. They were able to get that first turtle, and eventually the power spike started to show, right, from the side of RSG, and therefore they were able just to dominate, I guess, from that particular moment on.
Again, you mentioned it, you know, the power here of RSG Philippines is their response to those minor weak points that pop up, and I just feel like for See You Soon, I don't want to count them completely out of this game yet. If Sensei is able to continue to farm up, there might be some form of a saving grace. Let's just say at the next big objective fight, because this first Lord's already taken, right? So if somehow Sensei is able to, let's say, steal a Lord and win the hard guard, win the Retribution in a Retribution fight, which might be difficult against Demon Kai, who's known for literally being kind of a Retribution god himself. And I feel like there is potential here for See You Soon, but literally their backs are against the wall right now, and it also really depends on how RSG Philippines plays around this first Lord pick.
Well, you know, speaking about the master playmaker himself, averaging on 7.4 assists with a kill participation of 61.82%. You know that he's being able to look out for the rest of his team, and more importantly, just setting these bigger plays up based off of the information.
I mean, Light himself. What can I say about the Season 9 and just the MVP performance that he had, even in playoffs, man. This guy, it's crazy if you think about his story. I know not everybody watching knows, but Light came from a previous team in Season 8, didn't actually get to play much. And then he came into RSG Philippines Season 9 and was like a breakout player where people were like, whoa, where did this guy come from? You know, how did he not get to play as much before? And that's why he's the master playmaker, because a lot of the success of RSG Philippines lies in the hands of this guy right there, right? And we're seeing it here. Yes, he's missing some hooks. Yes, he's, you know, maybe not getting certain hooks that really matter, but still, what's happening here is the way that he responded for Emma, the way that he's playing even around decisions that Demon Kai's given. He is the main shot caller, right? Light is. So he's playing this Franco, and Franco is such a, I feel like at this point, Franco is like a standard meta pick, right? It usually works really, really well, but the way that certain individual players play Franco is what I feel like sets them apart.
They have their own styles.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So some people like to control, others would prefer throwing it out to maybe hopefully fish for someone at the same time, or maybe it's just for zone control, push them in a particular direction, funnel them.
100%. And when I think about Franco, sometimes I also think like maybe the hook is a plus point, right? I think because like the way that Indonesia plays it is like they really prioritize the use of the ultimate more.
Yeah.
So they usually flicker ultimate and get the player that they really need to get. So the hook is definitely just like a bonus point. But though, yeah, so Light has been incredible. I mean, the way that he's been playing so far is insane. But I don't know. When we're talking about RSG, we can like talk about each and every one of those and the way they played just in this game.
Yeah, and this is just game number 1, right? So I want to talk a little bit about CSU, because I feel like with their draft, it's apparent where they're struggling. We kind of, I mean, the Lilia pick was good at the start, but honestly, what do you use it for here? You know, and as the game goes on, is your sole purpose to, because the damage just isn't there right now.
Yeah.
So is your sole purpose to literally just try to bait something out from RC Philippines, pop the black shoes, and hope that the rest of the team, is able to pull something off, which is a lot of that reliance is again on Ling and Angela, right? So where does this work for CSU and Gideon?
I think it works depending on where they take the fight. Especially if it comes down to choke points, it can be a little uncomfortable, especially since you're not entirely sure where that Franco hook is going to be coming from, over a wall or directly in front of them. It depends on how that they want to juke. But for the meantime, I think they just want to make sure to fight in lane, right? That's generally where they want to fight. Something very simple, very obvious. Make sure that you can dodge left and right. You have enough space and room to breathe and pull in and push out whenever you want to.
Certain things have to pretty much fall in place.
Conditions
have to be met for CU soon as they, face off in this game number 1 against RC Philippines, who really, I mean, the record stands for RC Philippines. They don't usually let things go when they have the lead, right? So we are going to be hearing back here shortly about what's going on with the teams, and then I believe also we are going to possibly be taking a break. I believe a 10-minute break.
Well, we'll have to see. Hopefully this issue isn't game breaking for the time being, because they're already in the middle of the action.
There we go. Well, we do have a disconnection issue. We will be taking a short break, guys. 6 minutes. So sit tight, hold tight, and we'll be right back.
I swear, it's a curse, man. Every single time I'm like, oh no, hopefully it's not game breaking. Disconnected. Well, we'll see you guys in a little bit, right after this break.
Palembang dan besar di Manado. Tidak seramai seperti Jakarta, tetapi saya cinta kota Manado. Serasa di rumah itu yang membuatnya istimewa. Ang probinsya ko ay Naik, Cavite. Maliit lang na baryo na bandang dagat. Sobrang ganda. Natutunan ko ang halaga ng buhay. Atin to.
Slay the enemies, bury the monsters, rise from the ashes, keep getting stronger. Races run, hit it hard, giving the best shot, going in for the kill, let them bite the dust. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, bow before us, they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright in crimson eyes, our spirit never dies. We are supremacy, make no apologies. Fight on to the last drop of blood. Fight on to the last beat of heart. Life is a battle, win every game with the magic flowing in our veins. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, bow before us, they won't bring us down. We are legendary.
Playing from RSG, they'll take every win that they can get here, especially since each of these wins are going to count towards making it and qualifying in towards that playoff. But I would have hated to be in CU Soon's position. It feels so suffocating.
I mean, for me personally, this is just standard RSG. There wasn't any surprises here. They're on their comfortable picks, and they just executed like they always do. I mean, that's the thing. They don't have to do anything fancy, because if you look at the micro and macro skill of RSG, it's again just execution factors for them. I don't think we're actually going to see much variance from their next game ahead of them. But see you soon. They went a little bit spicy, I would say, right? They went a little bit kind of out of the bounds of what we're used to seeing, and I'm wondering if they're going to continue that forward, because we even mentioned when the signature hero thing popped up for both teams, they were quite different, right? So who knows what will happen, but Eterna, I mean, see you soon. Is this, what can they do going into the next game?
I mean, you know, there's like this really famous quote, like, if it don't break,
It's
how's it go?
not broken,
Yeah,
don't fix it.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But the problem is, time and time again, Seiyusun always uses the same playstyle, and it breaks every time. So I don't know how many games, how many tournaments that they have to go through to understand that sometimes your playstyle, it doesn't work. Try something different. Look and like adapt to the meta that is currently being given to them. Because for the way that they play, they put so many eggs in one basket, right? They put so much emphasis in that early game, and unfortunately, it didn't pay off. And when it didn't, they didn't have a backup plan.
Well, it's kind of rich that both opinions coming in from both regions that have won international tournaments are allowed to say that, but I think personally, shaking it up is pretty good. I think there are many ways to actually attempt to break and penetrate through this iron wall defense, but a lot of it comes down to understanding the playbook. And I think RSG, as of right now, are playing very picture-perfect textbook plays every single time, but they back it up even more by doing some very solid recon as well to play the information and making the most effective move each and every time. They're playing chess. You gotta know how the pieces move. And I think CU Soon, as of right now, are realizing that an unorthodox playstyle may not necessarily get them through all the way. I do think they have the mechanics to pull this off, and if they want to take that win, they're gonna have to rely heavily on it with the help of a draft that has maybe a little bit more depth to it. I would say with this time, a little bit more depth. Scaling could be a very good option here. Maybe go toe-to-toe in a very long variety attrition battle.
Yeah, I think like a Turnip put it, you know, don't put your eggs all in one basket,
Yeah.
right? So we are going to be taking a look at the breakdown of this game number one. Again, it was 4-13. RC taking that victory. Gideon, go ahead and break down game number one.
All right, immediately, straight off the bat, the drafts are rather interesting. We're seeing Sensei coming onto Link, getting a good pairing with Angela at the cost of losing a little bit of that mid pressure. Hopefully that Angela was able to soak up, but unfortunately that just wasn't the case with RSGPH making sure that they had good recon to catch them off guard, leaving Flexi Boy Loy as well as Nats on an island by themselves, which Nats easily is able to control. Looking at the gold itself, it's getting ahead by 3K despite only having a 1 kill difference, and 3 assists is already good enough for Nats to take full control of this game, especially for low health targets like Ra, and arguably even Sensei in a 1v1 without his ult. Now, Demonkite, on the other hand, didn't really have to do too much of the heavy lifting. All he has to do is go invade the enemy jungle and relay that information back to the rest of his team. But if you look at the items, still traditional items all across the board. We do see that Ember decided to opt to go for an Ice Queen's one to maybe try to slow down that push, but it really doesn't matter. The moment that Aqua was able to hit that third item, Holy Crystal, he could blow up anybody.
I'm surprised that the Angeline combo couldn't do more this game, but you know, because typically that's what we see, and I mean, again, a lot of it just relied on that as the game progressed. But yeah, like you said, Demonkite didn't have to do much of that game, and this is what I was saying from his transition from Season 8 to Season 9. He's accepted the fact that, hey, you know what, I'm gonna focus on these objectives and let the rest of the team do what they need to do to get us that victory. And this is what happened. This is what showed. I mean, we saw that early kill of Emon going down in the top lane. That was a good pick, a good start for CU Soon. But again, RSG just responded very well.
I mean, from the draft, it was really difficult for CU Soon. I mean, I do understand the double mage meta, but personally speaking, I would have preferred someone like the Cecilian, let's say, instead of the Lilia to go into that gold lane, because with that composition, it seems like that was supposed to be the main carry, but this is going to be your MVP for this particular game. It is going to be Amon on the Beatrix with a 615 KDA, and he didn't do anything crazy, like spectacular, but the way that he was able to maneuver the Beatrix, the way he knows the Beatrix inside and out, gave him a bit of a more lead, the supremacy, and being able to win this MVP for game number one.
I mean, when he's got a whole team behind him, every single move you make against him, it's kind of tough. I mean, let's check out the highlights and maybe we can catch some of these moments, right? Because it's all about that movement. He makes this first mistake up on top side. Demonkite's like, sorry, I was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
He was like, don't worry about it. Lights on the way. And he just takes out target after target with the help of Aqua, who walks into frame very shortly after these engagements. And we cut straight towards the end game here, because Light is going to be a huge perimeter and a huge deterrent for CU Soon. They cannot afford to get hooked by him at this stage of the game.
I mean, you see it there in the highlights, right? There was nothing crazy that happened. It was a standard game for RSG Philippines. That's why there wasn't a ton of highlights, because a lot of those kills that they found, a lot of those moments that they had were just either set up by Light or was just decision making from other parts of the team. Again, Demonkite was just coasting. He just pretty much coasted.
Oh, it's true, man. It's pretty brutal, and honestly, I feel like this speaks to you a little bit as your favorite team.
I can't say that I'm biased towards RSG Philippines, but that was a heck of a game. And also, we just want to mention, there is a TikTok event right now, 2022 MSC. Join the live carnival on TikTok. I believe you can get some points and get some skins if you just join it.
Exactly. We're offering you so much, guys. I mean, if I were out, I would be like watching and I'd just be like getting all the skins that I could get, because there's so many events that are happening right now, and it's a way of showing our appreciation to you guys as the viewers, the way that you've supported all of our events from the get-go up until now, and you can see just everything just gathering up, the way that the esports community in MLBB in particular has grown so much, and we just want to say thank you.
Hey, it's a party, it's a carnival, and you guys want to join anytime, any place, anywhere, just whip out your phone and you know exactly what to do. But considering I'm going to do a bit of forecasting here, right? I'm thinking RCPH, very pacifist style, very textbook style. I'm thinking of Naisu, that's his favorite team. I bet his TikTok feed is basically grass growing.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm quite active on TikTok, and I'm just waiting to post our TikTok. It's not a dance. Trust me, I don't dance on TikTok.
You don't dance, you just look hot on it all the time.
That's okay.
I'm uncomfortable.
See, these TikToks, they are good. It's hard not to look away.
There you go. And, speaking of, again, enjoy the freebies, guys, from this entire week. Like, the entire week. I was going to say weekend, but the entire week. Because it's like, it's jam-packed, and there's lots of goodies for you guys. With that being said, Game 1 is over. What's the fun fact?
I didn't realize how tough of a contender that Seasoon has in this match until I remembered a fun fact.
What's the fun
The
fact?
fun fact is, correct me if I'm wrong, Naisu, but RSG Philippines has been sitting on a win streak during their playoffs. 7 times they played and they've only lost 1 game, and that was in the grand finals against Omega.
Yep. That's why.
Wow.
Hey, I'll tell you what. If you guys haven't heard the term of lason, it's basically poison, right? So when they talk about Smart Omega, they talk about them being like the lason of a lot of these teams, the poison. So RSG Philippines,
kryptonite?
Basically kryptonite,
Okay.
right? So in a sense, it's like, as I said, RSG Philippines does not have a lot of weaknesses, but Smart Omega, mind you, who is here and also defending champions, right? They found a weak point in RSG Philippines, and you could probably learn a lot from watching that game. Honestly, I casted it, and you can actually learn quite a bit. You were talking about how do you handle the unstoppable force or the immovable object that is RSG Philippines, and actually Smart Mega found a way to do that. Take a game off them, and I feel like a lot of teams could actually learn from that. So I'm not sure if CSUN actually, watched that one, but we'll see. As we jump into the draft for game number 2 here, early bans coming out, of course. CSUN does not want to give Light the Franco here. They also take out Xavier. RSG Philippines responding with that natural kind of Valentina ban coming out.
I love that they opted for the same positions as well as Yusun with the first pick and RSG following straight after, and I love the respect ban, like straight up from the get-go coming in from Yusun. You see the Franco being banned, as well as from the side of RSG, we do still see the same bans coming through. It is still the Valentina as well as Akai, and if patterns speak volumes, the Julian will be banned as well as the 1-1, but Yi will be opened up if that is the case.
I'm interested to know what's the reasoning for CUSU to put so much priority on these particular majors. Based off last game as well, where they were like focusing down Eve on top of everything else, and then picking up Lilia for themselves. It feels like almost like, oh, it doesn't matter what your counter pick is going to be. Lilia will outpush you, and I'll eventually have more damage than you in the earlier stages of the game, right? Like, what is the thought process? Is what I'm curious about. But RSG, on the other hand, they banned out after banning out the 1-1, generally good bans overall, and I think the Akai is very well prepared. They're going to be locking in the Eve as well as the Beatrix, very common picks.
Yep, like you said, very common for RSG here. Why, as Turnip said earlier, if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? This is the case for RSG Philippines, as Emon is going to go ahead and get that comfort Beatrix once again. Aqua on the Eve, performing out of his mind time out of time. Not exactly sure on his win rate here, but I know it's just, he knows how to play around it. What's surprising is that they actually went for CSUN. They went and prioritized the Ling again. So I'm not sure if maybe they're just like, let's try this again, maybe we don't take the Angela, right? Yeah, or the Lilia. They have options here, but we're going to see they actually go ahead and they take the Lilia, but this time they also take the Yuzong.
Oh, interesting.
This makes sense in a way, okay? Maybe perhaps this time around Lilia is going to be placed in that mid lane, which I 100% prefer better. And the Yuzong here is coming into play as well to be able to break into that back line the way that he was built for, especially with the Way of Dragon. So they understood how much of an impact that Amon had in that first game, and they're trying to adjust to it, okay? So this is quite good. They are learning from their previous game from the side of Seosun, but because they prioritize that Yuzong to be able to penetrate that backline, they lost a really good EXP laner, a really hard carry in that lane, and that is going to be the Esmeralda, who has now fallen to the hands of RSG.
Plus, that matchup isn't easy to win as well. It's highly mechanical, and it's very much Esmeralda favorite if she just plays just slightly passively, doesn't get hit by too many abilities, and makes it through her first item. And basically, the moment she gets dominance, she wins the lane. So, again, can be a little frustrating to deal with, but I think these next couple of events are very telling that RSGPH are taking away just annoying counter matchups, especially as a Beatrix. I wouldn't say necessarily the hardest counter matchups, but at the very least forces them to play passively, and you won't be able to farm as efficiently as you'd like to. I think the fanny ban coming out for CU soon, is it justified? I wouldn't think so, but hey, you never know. RSGPH might be saying, I don't want to watch grass grow, I'm going to mow the lawn.
I don't want to see the For You page on Nice's TikTok, basically, right? So, but again, I honestly, I feel like the fanny ban is just a respect ban for Demon Kite, because when he pulls that out, when he actually gets the chance to, people are just like, wow, what is, like, this is back in Season 8 Demon Kite. He's getting his spotlight, right? It's like, sometimes he's tired of just being the objective-based jungler. He's like, hey guys, can I have this one? Let me go with the fanny or something and, you know, finesse on them. But, so I think that's a safe ban here. RSG Philippines is going to take out this Amasha, and CSU rounds out the banning phase for them, taking out the Kufra. So, options for Light here. I mean, he doesn't have the Franco, doesn't have the Kufra. What can he pick up, you know?
Cho.
Cho is a good one. Cho is a really good call here and is effectively good in all situations. No matter what he does, he has a hard lockdown. Good, and the lockdown, yes, it dispositions you, but it's good enough to make sure that Lilia isn't able to just press one button and get out of the way. She might even have to force some Purify out of some of the team members from CU soon.
Man, right now, just looking at the boys here on the screen, this is typical, right? You see Demon Kite and Navs usually like smiling or laughing, and you just wonder what they're talking about, right? Like who to take, and it's actually going to be Demon Kite securing the Karina here once again. And like I said, in game one, he just kind of coasted through that game, so he could be going for a similar game plan here. That leaves a Light for an option, like you guys said. Cho is actually a really good option. Now, Eterna, see you soon. What do you see them picking here?
If they're sticking to their roots, I'm gonna expect someone like a Lunox pick or someone that scales in that way. I mean, if Ra doesn't want to change colors, then he might go once again for these kind of mage picks in that gold lane, unless they want to go to a more, you know, conventional route. Like, let's say the Claude that has been picked up, but see you soon read RSGPH quite well, and they actually picked up the Cho for themselves.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm getting very distracted with the splash right in the background. Half the time I don't even notice it. I didn't realize there was a dude behind you, Song, and I didn't realize he was in the cityscape of that particular color. I think it's like a little higher than it should be for Cho. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be like street signs, but hey, you know, beats me. I think see you soon. They've got a really good composition. As you mentioned, Eterna, yes, Cho is a good steal away from RSGPH, but the response coming in is going to be Angela, which I think is also pretty good. And a very typical combo, Angela with Ling, Angela with Karina as well. I wanted to mention it last game, but didn't have the chance. But I think this is going to be a very good test, because now RSGPH, not only, they don't necessarily have to put themselves on a timer, but if they even get slightly ahead, they can really force the agenda.
I feel like it's more balanced this time around, right? Their winning conditions are a bit more balanced in a sense where in game number one, it was definitely Siu Sun being lacking in that late game. But now that Siu Sun has actually secured themselves into that late game with the Claude being picked up, this is looking quite good. But I gotta say, I don't know, which one do you think is a stronger composition? I'm very biased to Eve being picked.
Well, I do think RSGPH has the better comp in this particular situation. It's easier to execute, scales harder, and it does everything you want it to do.
Smash them.
Well, you don't have to ask me. No, I'm just kidding. At the same time, I just want to say, yes, you guys mentioned See You Soon's draft this time is much more balanced. Also, one thing I want to highlight is they have a lot of potential here, either to follow up on the picks with the Cho, right, the way of the dragon that they can use, or they can actually kind of go in and go out with what they have, whether it's the Claude, whether it's the Black Shoes with Lilia. So they can actually play around with this composition a little bit more. Like, do they commit to the setups if he's able to find them on the Cho, or do they kind of weave in and out to whittle down RSG Philippines to the point where then they can make a signal? If, for example, you hold on to that Way of the Dragon where resources are expended, health bars are low, then you go in for the pick. Like, that will be kind of like an option here for See You Soon.
Well, think of it this way. I mean, See You Soon right now, they've got a really dive-heavy composition. It's all about peeling. It's all about sending the divers to go and Lilia to kind of slowly peel back for this Claw until the time is right to pull on that linchpin. But what is that condition? What are they afraid of? It has to be that Karina as well as that Angela combination together. Oh, you want to use your blazing duet? No problem. I just go invisible for a couple of seconds and I'll take you out immediately after.
100%. And now we're going to take a look at some stats here coming in from Sensei. So, I don't know. I think Sensei has tried to do what he can, especially on the Ling. I mean, he has used it twice in a row, and the way that he's able to kind of adapt to what he needs to use with the Ling is something to say about him. With an average kill of 4.11 with a KDA ratio of 4.53, Gideon, what does this tell us about him in particular?
Well, I mean, honestly, considering the amount of kills that he's getting per game, averaging it out, especially with the KDA that he was getting, it's not too bad. It's not the worst. It's not the best, but it's definitely not the worst in the world. Which does mean that the other members of the team are really picking up the slack here, especially for some of their cleaner games. Then again, it's a little hard to say, but let's get right into it. Let's see whether they can break down this iron wall defense from RSGPH.
They've got the tools for it, and
I swear,
Gideon, there it is.
It has to be me, right? It has to be me, right? That's 2 times. I'm 2 for 2. I'm 2 for 2 on this.
That's what kind of statistic would you give Gideon? If we had a lower tier to Gideon, I don't think it's a rising star. Curse caster.
Top witchcraft caster.
Well, while they figure those things out, I mean, we've talked quite a bit about See You Soon, the potential, the dynamic that they have with this composition. I like it a lot. I think we can all agree we like it a lot better than what they had in game number 1. RSG Philippines, on the other hand, right? Like, again, they're not changing much here. This is very standard for them. And like the Angela pick on Light, it's not something he would typically pick, because when you think of Light, it's also someone who reminds me of, like, for example, Jack New, right? He likes to start those fights. He likes to be very active on the decisions that he's making. That's why he's shot calling. Now, when it's paired with Karina, like you mentioned, you want to talk about this earlier, and Angela and Karina I feel like it could almost be stronger than the Angela and Ling combo in certain situations.
I would agree. I would agree mainly because even though you don't necessarily have the outplay ability of the dashes or the Finch Poise coming in from Ling, at the very least, you can just strong arm your opponent down. And it's rather scary coming in from a tank Karina being built, because it's not only can you not kill her as easily, she has extra bits of sustain, her stats are going to be beefed up on top of it all, and your auto attacks just don't work for some reason. It's really, really frustrating to deal with. And even when you are a mage, you feel like, man, I feel like I'm not getting a lot done.
I mean, that's exactly it. I mean, Karina's been a huge driving force in that jungle position for the fact that she is a quote-unquote counter of the way that the meta has actually, laid itself out. I mean, we put so much emphasis on using marksmen, and the way that they play is that they always use those basic attacks. So once once these basic attacks are rendered useless, that's exactly how the Karina shines. So my question is, the Blazing Duet, if I'm not mistaken, is a basic attack, right? So does that mean when the Blazing Duet starts, the Karina can be immune to that?
Yes, the Karina can be immune to that. I think the initial blast of it, you will see a bit of a trip because there is a reactionary time that you have to press the button and then you go into that mode, unless you're all conveniently in it and Claude decides, you know what, this is a good time. This is a great time to do it. Then yeah, it's not going to be as effective as it wants to be. So I think it's always about timing. And I always put this argument time and time again that compositions that require more execution are more likely to fail compared to easier compositions with less executional value.
Yeah, I mean, a big factor is going to be the Karina thing. And also, I was just visually thinking while you were explaining that, Gideon, I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, Claude like goes in with the Blazing Duet, right? He's like shooting all his guns and stuff. And Karina's literally sitting there like waving her weapon.
Yeah.
What she's doing is
Yeah, you run circle, you can run laps around it, just for fun.
So even the visuals are real. So, you know, it works there. And again, I'm going to say it because I talk about this a lot too on our broadcast back at home. And I just got to say, as I know she's meta. I know Karina is meta. I just don't really like seeing her that much.
She's really unfun.
I wish there was a deeper, like, pool for jungle heroes right now, like in the current meta. I wish we got to see more. That's why I like it when there's kind of those experiments going on. But, you know, now that we're seeing kind of Lings come back so far, I mean, day number 1, the question is, do they start, like, do all these assassins start building, like, tanks like Karina? Is that what's going to happen?
Nah, I think I'm good. I think I don't want to live in that kind of MLBB world. They already butchered the EXP lane to make it really boring now with just Esmeralda. And luckily we came with Dyroth. We got Dyroth. That's the one win we got. Other than that, Lamas. Even then, we don't really know where he sits in the meta. But it's not the worst thing in the world compared to Karina.
Dyroth
I'm waiting
was
for
a safe race.
Thamus Jungle.
Thamus Jungle?
Yeah.
You think you'll...
I think it could be pulled off.
I'm wondering who's in your contact list. Is it Onyx? Tell me. I need to know the truth.
Can't say.
It's an ace up their sleeve here. But also, we're going to take a look here at the head-to-head. Emon versus Raw. And, I mean, look at the difference here.
That's just not fair. This is off one game. That's an average of 11 KDA to a 0.8.
Yeah, we just want to make a point that these are stats here, right, happening for MSC. So, you know, this is a... I feel like this isn't the best comparison of Raw's capabilities, right? But it will be said that, you know, for Suit, if they want to think about it, if they really want to contest versus RSG Philippines, maybe it starts here, allowing Raw to have a better game, a better time to really do what he needs to do on itemization, to actually bring that to the table mid-game, late game.
One of the huge factors that I see between Iman and Ra is, again, like I mentioned earlier before, is the way that they're so different in that gold lane. Like, their playstyles are completely different. What they're accustomed to, completely different. Their comfort picks, completely different. And for the first game, it did not pay off for Ra. We do know that he likes to go for those mage picks in that gold lane. And actually, on paper, it does make sense, right? Because we're usually accustomed to seeing mages being able to pop off way earlier than marksmen. So you'd think that they'd be able to be bursted down, but the case is he's going head to head against one of the most solid gold laners in the league, who is Amon.
That's why I think it's so valuable to have Weapon Master. Because if you talk about timing or power spikes and you have Weapon Master and you just get that BOD, that's your power spike. Like, it's huge. And we saw that in the last game. And I mean, that's usually what happens for especially these Beatrix players. They like to just do that. And kind of what, I don't know exactly the time mark, but usually pretty early on, they've already got that damage.
Well, it depends on whether they want to rush boots first or whether just to opt to go, you know what, I don't need the boots, I'm just going to farm anyway, so just don't take the boots, just start off with just regular dagger and build it up into a BOD. I'm just going to come out with it. I think it's really boring. So they should just be bold and brave. Take Killing Spree. Show them who's boss in lane. Take High and Dry. For Beatrix.
For Beatrix,
Yeah,
okay.
just fight them in lane. I've seen more than enough times where teams play, they kind of condition themselves where they're too afraid to actually take a winning matchup further than it should be, right?
Yeah.
You give them the space when you shouldn't be giving them that space. You know, if you really want to go out of your comfort zone, take Weakness Finder, maybe even take Electro Flash. I prefer Weakness Finder. It feels really, really good when you slow the guy one time and just kill him off of that. It feels very nice.
I feel like it's I don't know. I feel like a lot of these gold laners now just they're used to the variance between Weapon Master and what else do we see for gold laners? What else do they take?
High and dry
High and dry?
Like Cho Gold would usually
That's
take high and dry.
Yeah.
That is true.
How about Marksman though? Like
Marksman specifically, they would go for Electro Flash. Weapon Master, obviously,
Yeah.
that is a natural go-to. Killing Spree if they're feeling real fruity that day.
so if they want to follow the advice that Gideon is giving,
Don't be boring.
don't be boring. Bring it out and just show them. Yeah, I was gonna say show them what you're made of, right? But I mean, this is just one dimension that we're focusing on here, the gold lane. And you know, I've said this before. A lot of the pacing is set jungles, but going back to now the roamers here, right? The roam area for not just these two teams, but in general, right? Light makes a lot of things happen here. I feel like for See You Soon, they also can maybe play around the roam role a little bit more to set those things up like we were going about with Raw in the gold lane. They don't have to completely go toe-to-toe with RSG every time if they're able to actually find these little pickoff. And that's why I love seeing Cho on the map, because a lot of that allows them, you know, with a nice timed way of the dragon, it really helps out.
I think it all comes back down to timing, to be honest. Like, when are they gonna start timing those skills? Because if the Yu Zong as well as a Cho go in aggressively onto the real world manipulation and it gets cancelled, for example, no, that's a huge resource spend, and that is a huge, like, aggression that is gonna be taken away from the side of RSG.
Well, I mean, if we got to talk about anything, we have to talk about EXP lane, right? It's going to be Nats versus Felix Boy Aloy, and I think they have been having some pretty okay. I think it's a little interesting. Initially, it was Nats having a winning matchup, and Flexible kind of holding his own, and now it's kind of a bit of the other way around, where now it's on Nat. It's on Flexible to actually bring the fight to Nats this time.
Yeah.
He has to. He doesn't have a choice. If he can get that first kill in lane, it will make all the difference for the rest of the game, because it's just continued oppression until an external factor comes and saves it.
I have a question for you, Naisu.
Yes.
I heard that Nats has a nickname.
What did you hear?
The nickname is Makunats.
Do you want me to translate that?
Yes.
Please explain.
I'd love to know
I'm
what
the
that
best guy to ask for Filipino translation. I'll tell you. Maku Nats. It's so there's.
Why did I try to say that better?
But okay, there's a term in Filipino. It's makuna. So when you say, "Oh wow, that Nats is makuna," it means that he's like the hero he's playing is very strong, sturdy, right? And so when they're talking about Nats, it's just because the guy usually can't be killed. He's going like 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4. Sometimes we've even seen Nats go 1 versus 5. So that's kind of where that nickname came from. There you go. You're welcome.
Okay. I mean, he is the MVP finals, so.
I feel like if he wins MSC, he's going to get that tattooed like across his chest.
Makunats.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got that
I mean, at that point, now that I've said it, go tweet at it. We'll make it happen somehow.
The thing I will say about Nats stuff is like a lot of the times, especially when you see him and Demon Kai interacting together outside of the game, I feel like there's a lot of this synergy between the two, and so that's why like his play style in itself is kind of relevant to that. So we're gonna be taking a look at what's going on here between the players, and now we are gonna be taking a short break. Once again, we have a technical issue for the players, and we just ask you guys to sit tight with us. You know, be patient as we get things figured out for day number 1 here. But we'll be right back. Sit tight.
monsters rise from the ashes, keep getting stronger. Races run, hit it hard, giving the best shot, going in for the kill, let them bite the dust. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, bow before us, they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright, cause the eyes, our spirit never dies. We are supremacy, make no apologies. Fight on to the last drop of blood. Fight on to the last beat of heart. Life is a battle, win every game with the magic flowing in our veins. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, bow before us, they won't bring us down. We are legendary. We are supremacy. We shine so bright because the eyes, our spirit never dies. We are supremacy, beg no Slay the enemies, bury the monsters, rise from the ashes, keep getting stronger. Races run, hit it hard, giving the best shot, going in for the kill, let them bite the dust. Let it all out, our superpower head with the crown. Sorry, not sorry, bow before us, they won't bring us down. We are legendary. the sea. We shine so bright.
Welcome back from that short break. Now again, if you're just joining us, we are here for Group B. This is the second match of the day between RSG Philippines versus See You Soon. And, you know, they had to figure some things out. They've already got their drafts done and situated, and we talked quite a bit about both team compositions, right? So, I mean, at this point, we're just pretty much waiting for them to get into the game and see how they execute. But one thing we did talk about kind of extensively was See You Soon's draft is much better this time around for game number 2. Hopefully for them, and hopefully for the fans out there for See You Soon, is they can actually take this game from RSG so they can also get a 1-for-1.
Possibly, and it's all about that execution as you were talking about before. If they're unable to pull this off, or RSG is just able to get a good read on some of the movements, it can be extremely hard. So I don't know about you guys, but sooner or later, we're going to be showing you the highlights of the previous games to get you a good idea just in case you're tuning in right now. So let's have a look at this. It's not going to be too many, but more importantly, they are getting some really good picks all across the board. Like, look at him, man. He's just catching people up and not missing a shot.
I mean, this was after he had the kind of a hard start here, but this is just person after person going down here to RSG Philippines, and you see how they play around the team composition they had. It was just pretty much all members. Nice hook there too towards the end of the game here. Emon with that quick flicker. I mean, that's usually what we see here, and this is a quick game 1. It was under 13 minutes that they ended that game.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a, summary, good tidbits that we saw for game number 1. But like Naisu mentioned before, it wasn't anything crazy because face value, it was a textbook game for the side of RSG. Now, I'm just so excited to get into game number 2, guys.
I mean, based off of those highlights that we saw, right? And the talking that we have done here about RSG Philippines and the RSG Philippine fans out there, they know just how strong they are as a team. Gideon has mentioned it himself. They're pretty much like their defense playstyle is very hard to break through. But again, with what See You Soon has drafted, this could very well be the lasso, if you will. And I gave you guys the Filipino lesson earlier, what lasso means. It's that poison. It's that poison to find the weakness here for RSG Philippines. It could happen here with what they have. There's quite a lot of dynamic to their lineup, right? So Gideon, a little bit of a refresher here. What are we expecting to see from See You Soon's draft into game number 2?
Well, we are expecting that See You Soon is going to be looking for something a little bit more execution heavy. They're going to be looking for opportunities to get into the back line and mainly stop big ultimates from their opponents, especially when you come down to that. You've got a Yuzong, you've got Show, multiple ways to break it and then start to look for those picks. But it's all conditional as they set things up with that Claude. So if he finds that grand blazing duet that everybody loves or hates, it could be all the difference that See You Soon needs to get the win.
I like that you mentioned that because now we are going to be jumping here into the game. Again, this is game number 2, See You Soon versus RSG Philippines. It's already in favor of RSG Philippines in terms of score. Now, first turtle of the game is going to come up as well. Sensei trying to get some vision here, but right now, quite a bit of control coming out from RSG Philippines. Black Dragon Form is going to be popped here by Felix. Can they actually push back enough? Two blades come down, but not enough as the Retribution is going to secure it for RSG Philippines. But a kill is taken. Light does go down. Reroll privilege there. There's the way of the Dragon 2, finding the target on Demon Kite. Nice pick there. Nice trade, actually, as well.
100%. Now See You Soon is definitely on the board. They're still in it to be able to win it in a sense that they played that so well, right? This is what we were talking about, the conditions coming in from See You Soon. They need to be able to, utilize the Way of Dragon, utilize the Black Dragon form well, and that's exactly what happened, what we saw, because if Nats goes head-to-head with Felix Boyloy, he can't win. We saw that happening in that top side. He's just losing way too much HP. So the way that he was able to maneuver around that, he opens up the Black Dragon form, uses it to zone out someone like, I would usually use it on the Aqua, but he did it on Light, was able to get a kill, and therefore the other members from the side of Siusun were able to do what they were meant to do. Like the Cho, for example, taking on that Way of Dragon super well.
I think in moments like this, we have to keep in mind that RCPH, even though, yeah, all right, we gave away 2 kills. This is not much of a confidence booster. This is expected from CU Soon. They generally have good ways to get on our big hitters, and they have decent ultimate rate at level 4, which is going to definitely do a lot more damage than what we would have imagined to do. But now they are going for the even bigger engage and their big target, Iman.
Oh, there goes Raw to follow up. Actually, Pop the Vengeance, also the Blazing Duet, but not able to get a kill just yet. The return comes from RSG Philippines. There's the Way of the Dragon. Boxy's in trouble. He gets taken out by Iman. Nice pickup there. Now they're focusing on Ember. Can Ember get away here? It's just way too much. Has the power of that slowdown as well. Another kill going over here to RSG Philippines.
Before this match ensued, there was so much like going on in the group of casters because they were saying like, wow, they actually gave Demon Kite Karina. And I'm known to see that Demon Kite, like Karina is one of the power heroes that Demon Kite has in his arsenal, and you can see that actually pay off in the game. I mean, already he is sitting at a 0-1-2. It is still 4 minutes in the game, but he's getting all the objectives on the board like he was built for.
Yeah, this is exactly what you want to do here. So they get the turtle, as you mentioned the turtle, right? This is what RSG Philippines does. They go for those objectives, they secure them. Usually with the Demon Slayer jungle emblem, there's not even much chance for you to respond to that.
Yeah, I don't think there is much time. I don't know. I think right now the game is in motion. The RCPH, the way that they are playing it, more importantly, the way that they're transitioning with their mid laner as well as their support, they are just trading. They're just trading mid lane roles, right? I mean, you get first Nance comes down to the mid lane. You start pre-contesting there. You move him back down. Immediately, your mid lane support starts moving down to collide with your gold laner to make sure that he's covered. Your jungle adds up on top. They're just making sure that the strongest part of their wall is always in the faces of CU Soon, giving them no opportunities to actually move into their jungle except for now.
Right now, Nav's going to be the focus here. 2 versus 1, again, showing just how confident he is on this pick. Demon Kite now also in the area, so they could look for something here. Felix obviously knows that. He's just going to clear it, go back, regen.
Man, you mentioned this, right? Nas is able to just pull out these really insane situations, and 1v2, it doesn't seem like it's a problem for him. And the problem is now, Felix Boyloy is going to be really behind in rotations, and he's one of the most core members that we need from CU. So the utility to be able to zone the members as well as deny those resources from popping.
As you said, Makunas. Right? You guys are seeing it here from him himself. And at the same time, I do want to say, Gideon, how does this work, right? The quad with the Vengeance, is that going to be really beneficial for him? Is this something you guys typically see?
Yes and no, because let's keep in mind that there is still Beatrix, and especially when you have Nibiru's passion, right? It's just that cone wave of just multiple. Oh, Boxy, finds a kick!
Nice pick up there. Can they actually follow up? Evan's still alive for a little bit longer. Has that hard guard to help him out as well. They're trying to return this. He's still alive. Sensei can't get the kill though. Meanwhile, Demon Kite, like a thief in the night, takes another turtle.
Wow. It's too close for comfort, but now CU Soon, they get one turn for themselves. Nats, there's no way he's going to get a kill there, but that's what you want to see from CU Soon. These big plays, these high execution mechanical plays coming out from this small Cambodian region, trying to make it big.
Utilize their pickoff potential to its utmost ability, and that's exactly what we're seeing once again, but unfortunately it does not connect 100%, but ooh, something might be brewing.
Real World Movie's gonna go down, and there you go. Boxy is punished here. The return once again. Now, cool. You gotta get out of there, buddy. And he goes down this time. It's a response, a 1-for-1. Nice pickup there for See You Soon, but also Boxy has to be a little bit careful here because this could be a tendency to continue to happen. Look at what happens under the turret as Demon Kite finds a kill himself, and now they're focusing in the mid lane. Demon Kite, 1 HP Sensei. Are you gonna go for it? It was a bait. Sensei's in trouble now. Nice hard guard there. RSG Philippines.
No, that was so unfortunate to see. You think for a split second you have an edge onto RSG and they just immediately outplay you. That's gotta be harsh. I mean, right now we can see that RSG is leading with a 2.5k gold lead, and it does seem like it is still growing.
He got timing. There's nothing much you can really say about that. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But I think that RSGPH are coming to a point where they want to get to 32k, and that's where they're really going to start pressing their advantage. I mean, come on, he has been doing a really good job. He's broken the turret all by himself. He's taken 2, in a matter of fact, and now he wants that mid turret on top of it all. RSG is brewing up a storm.
Wow, and they already forced the Black Shoes out of Ember, so he's going to lose that. That's pretty big for them. And again, this is the pressure that RSG Philippines is putting around the map. Raw trying to do his best here to just kind of show up and show some face. But right now, RSG Philippines not going to be letting them really do anything at the moment.
I mean, at this stage, the way I see it is like, see you soon. They need to find a way to be able to bait out that real-world manipulation if they want to go for a full 5-man team fight. Because once that gets popped off, then it's easy to be able to respond to these kinds of movements and deny that from RSG. But if RSG is able to just, keep those amazing skills that are going to be a huge factor, then it's going to be very difficult for Siu Soon.
Nice patience there coming out from Felix as he focuses on Amon. The Lord's still going to be worked on here, but it's actually secured by Sensei. Nice pickup there by Siu Soon. They should just back out of here. They should be happy with that. But RSG Philippines looking to punish them here. Now working on Raw, falling Star Moon's in. Can he find a kill here? Trying to cut somebody off. And meanwhile, look at the bottom lane. The kill is taken for Demon Kite. Now going to be working on Boxy. They want to return this. Raw has to get out of there too. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Boxy's still up and alive. Meanwhile, Lord will also march down the bottom lane.
Okay, it's not too bad, right? The worst situation that Siu Soon could have had was that more members than one were able to be taken out. As I speak, Ember goes down to the hands of Naz, and Maku Naz strikes again.
Well, Turnip, you're on the board this time. So 2-1. It feels good. I'm not the only person.
Cillian is a huge pick. He scales unlimitedly, infinitely towards that late game, as we all know. But the issue is, with that current patch, his sustainability got nerfed quite a lot. So he is a huge target. He's extra vulnerable this time.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit worried in that sense.
Like you said, he's pretty much, his scaling potential is through the roof. He's basically the magic Aldous, right? So let's see how it plays out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 1 for the 3rd series of the day. Group A. Again, this is Falcon Esports versus Onyx Esports.
Right, now, starting things off, let's immediately talk about the way that they're positioning themselves, right? They're taking a little bit more of an aggressive stance here. They're obviously going to be starting on their purple buff side, but more importantly, do they expect to defend their side of the map, or do they want to start immediately taking control?
It is a Julian jungle. This is the hey, it's not stale anymore, right, Gideon?
Oh, yeah, definitely not. The question is whether or not how effective it's going to be. They're going to get the Julian ahead in terms of levels, but if you can't convert it into kills or pressure, it's as good as gone.
Yeah, I like this because this will be one of the first times that we actually get to see if it works really well in the jungle or not. Because again, we talk about how flex that pick is. That was a talking point early on into today, actually. So hope we get to see something amazing coming out from Ken. Meanwhile, he does have to work here with Sans on that Akai. And we saw how well Akai can actually just turn the tide of games alone.
100%. This is actually going to be one of the most interesting lineups, I would say, because they're not as conventional as we're used to in match number 1 and match number 2. And I'm also wondering how the Sicilian is going to play in that mid side, understanding that they are going against the Kagura, who also has a really good type of wave clear. It all depends on how they want to rotate, because I do feel like there is a lot of potential in that gold lane as well. And man, going against CW isn't too hard if you're able to pressure him from that early game.
Yeah, no, I
Killing
totally
spree.
agree.
He's got it.
That's what I'm saying, man.
This is all the Wikipedia right here, man.
Exactly.
Literally.
They listen to the cast and they're like, check. Done my homework. We're gonna get some good responses on cast. They got it. They got what they wanted.
I mean, it could work really well for them, right? So now that this first turtle is going to be up here, looks like Falcon Esports actually pretty dominant in their stature here. Who's going to be able to secure this one? Because everybody coming to join the party, and there you go, the jungle Julian securing the turtle here for Ken. But first blood is taken, and now Boots looking to get another kill here. Justin's got to be careful. Look at the back lane. The knockup is there. Ken finding a target. Not going to be able to commit just yet. Double kill though goes over to Boots. Now, can they find one himself? Give the man a double kill. Ken on the Julian.
I mean, you asked previously, right? Does Julian jungle work? And there you have it. That's the answer. I mean, double kill already in the first 2 minutes. Being able to have so much impact in that particular team fight is just amazing to see. And honestly, from that, knowing that, understanding that point, on esports, they need to be playing a little bit more carefully because they do have the Sicilian who doesn't do too much damage, especially in that early game. And they have to be a bit more patient, you know? Allow Falcon to take all these early objectives and try to find trades elsewhere.
Oh, look at the trade at the top lane right now. Boots going to be focused on 2 versus 1 here. Can he survive enough against this? Has quite a bit of sustain, and he goes down. Yellow Flash finding the kill.
Ooh, that was a lot closer than it should have been. A lot closer. But now Onyx, they're going to continue pressing their advantage here while trying to invade.
They're actually, going for the invade here. Sans got to be careful. Lots of members here from Falcon Esports going to be just fine. This is what I was going to say too. With Boots having that early double kill on this Dyrock, that could actually be bad news for Falcon Esports. So they responded well, saying, "Hey guys, we got to get Boots down because we can't let him scale even further because that matchup is already difficult for Yellow Flash."
Well, speaking of which, CW actually gets everything. He outplays him, but takes the trade regardless. Ooh, that Numenor blast was all or nothing, and CW said, "Give me that killing spree prop." And now Keyboy should be the next to fall. Oh, they didn't actually go for the dive there, huh?
That's discipline, man. I mean, again, I thought they were actually going to go commit to that as well, and nice play there. Again, at the bottom lane, finding targets. Julian actually the focus here now, able to survive for now.
Wow, trades after trades here for both teams, but it does seem like Falcon has a little bit of an edge. They are leading in quite an amount of gold, but it seems like on esports, they're quick to their toes as well. They will be able to take this next turtle, and now they might be trying to, just find another pickoff on the board, perhaps, understanding that they just secured that turtle.
This is literally action on all sides of the map. Ken could be in trouble here. Sans finding the target, gonna heavy spin into the wall. Ken, you're in trouble here. Bad impact right to the face, finding a kill, shutting down Ken for now, and now the focus on Naomi, gonna block those just fine. Onyx Esports finding a kill.
I think they might just find one on Silent here. They know exactly where he is.
Oh, so actually he's gonna be fine. I'm surprised. Again, certainly you're gonna be committed there, but right now it's pretty safe, right? It's 4-4. Silent's got Naomi there. He should be fine.
All right. So Silent, he uses his ult to make sure he clears up the wave. He doesn't want to get Nova. I think that's a really good decision. But the question is, where's Onyx going to keep playing from, right? They are playing from mid. They keep attacking bottom, mid, bottom every single time, right? And now when you start moving to the top of the neutral objective is now, there's just no reason to be up there until the turtle is up.
Man, right now, I'm gonna say it again. There's just so much action across the map by both these teams, and I gotta say, we were talking about play styles, right? And right now, the match is going very well for both teams. I mean, they can find moments on each side. Here comes Justin. Can see them come out. Oh, Numenor blast. Is he gonna connect? Finds one here. Can they get a kill? Look at the damage coming out from Silent as they find one on CW. Naomi, you gotta be careful. There, the knockup again. Keyboy taking quite a bit. Ken finishing him off. Here comes Sans. Who's he gonna find here? Into the wall. Ken goes. Can Trian help him out to get a kill here? He's gotta be careful on top of Sans once again. Now Ken's gonna be the focus, but look at the return damage from Silent. And there you go. Again, an action-packed skirmish in the bottom lane.
Really good follow-up as well as presentation and execution from the side of Falcon. I mean, the way that they were able to hit that Numenor blast followed by the Yin Yang overturn, it just went and molded with one another really perfectly. And that's something that we want to see from the side of Falcon. It makes them a huge contender, super strong. And the way that they're able to level it out with Onyx Esports and actually have a dub on this turtle is going to be huge for them, especially because they want to be able to end it earlier as possible, understanding that the Sicilian once again does scale the longer that this game goes.
All right, now they're going to give up the turtle here. Actually, it's still going to be worked on. Wally, push him back. There's the flipper from Justin. The knockup here, try to disengage. Turtle secured by Onyx, but look at the damage coming out. And now Yellow Flash zoning out 3 members of Onyx, but they do grab a kill here too on Boots.
All right, so now with the score being 7-5, right? Boots, again, he can't afford to die this many times. He needs to be able to kind of get that pressure and make sure that Yellow Flash can't get ahead. But with, with Avarice, it is a little bit hard. And if we're comparing in damages, they're not too far apart. Silent is doing a phenomenal job right now in terms of just holding, not only holding his own, but finding the right kills when the rest of his team are sacrificing and going, turning a 50-50 trade, a 1-1, compared to a 0-1 in favor of Onyx Esports. And they have to keep playing those odds and keep playing those numbers to find that big fight so that Justin can make the difference.
He nearly got taken down there. Luckily, the guiding wind was available for them to be able to maneuver around that. But already 50 seconds left on the clock. And as it stands, you're right. I completely agree with you in that sense. I do feel like Silent is doing a superb job. 2-0-1, still untouched to this moment. And number 1 on most players' gold. And it's kind of weird to see that CW is falling far short. And from that, we can kind of grasp the fact that Falcon has been reading a lot into the playstyle of Onyx Esports, where they like to prioritize CW. They like to use him as the main carry, and they're preventing that from happening.
Yeah, CW is definitely having a hard time, right? But I feel like this is the story of a lot of these Clint picks, right? You kind of either have a stale early game where you get picked on, and then you have to really farm up enough to come back to mid to late game where you're contributing that damage, that burst potential. And I feel like that's why they have Drian, right? Drian is here for that scaling. He's got the bad impact. He also has the Sanguine Claws, and a lot of that displacement when you're trying to set things up for Falcon Esports could be trouble for them. But right now, I think Onyx Esports has a little bit more of a potential to scale compared to Falcon Esports.
I mean, when you have Sicilian, it's obvious. It just keeps on going forever, right? He just gets stronger and stronger, and each and every time it's going to be more effective. And that's something that Falcon is aware of, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible to deal with, especially when you have someone like Julian who can close that distance and put him out of the, and put him so close that he can't get into the optimal range. Wow, I was surprised that Justin didn't commit to a yin-yang overturn on the Kiba. Maybe he doesn't have enough damage. I could be wrong. It looks like we're at 26k to 26k, so I don't think he has his second item up and going just yet.
Yeah, they definitely want to be careful about committing to this first Lord, because pretty much at this point it's even, right? There's not a huge gold gap between either the teams. The play styles across the map was pretty much mirrored, and you can see now these big item pickups coming up.
Yeah, so it looks like the second items are starting to come on through, but there's not much of a difference. Both sides are right at its edge here. Someone makes a mistake and someone dies. Ooh, who next power spike is not going to be fun.
I mean, I gotta say that Sicilian Drian has opted to itemize very greedily. I mean, going for those scaling items as well as plus with the Holy Crystal and not any of defense items. It shows that he's very confident, but that also could be the end of the beginning as well.
There's going to be the knock-up on Sans, taking quite a bit of damage, but Yellow Flash has to back off too. Naomi now being the focus, but once again, Boots, you're in trouble. Able to survive for now. The return, though, CW able to get the killing spree going over here to Silent. They both lose one. Even a blast going to come out, Flicker, and a Flicker committed as well. Able to dodge that one just barely.
Wow. Wow, that was actually pretty sick. The reaction time to that one, he didn't know where, where, or what time he was going to release that. Literally just eyeballing it.
Oh, Naomi actually in trouble there, but can they get a grab the Lord here? It's going to be secured by Silent. But meanwhile, they lose some members. Was that worth it?
No, it definitely wasn't worth it. I mean, they lost too many members at a very important time. But, I mean, at the very least, they did secure Lord. It's not like they lost it and then gave Lord over to Onyx Esports. So I think that is one plus point. It keeps Falcon in the game.
It gives them a bit of time as well, maybe to buy some time for Ken as well as Naomi to, come back into play as well. And unfortunately, though, for that part, they had to lose a few members and as well as a few objectives on the board, like that turret that was instantly melted down by the side of Onyx Esports. But for the moment, how do you think this is going to play? Like, what are the winning conditions for Falcon in particular, as well as Onyx in particular, to be able to win it?
Well, for Falcon, again, Silent can continue to do what he's doing, right? He's 3-0-1, has the items he needs, also sitting on that weapon mastery. We already saw the kind of damage potential coming out from him. So I think if Ken can find the CC that he can, or it could even be Naomi, right? You have Silent and Justin both pumping out damage, and that's one big thing for Falcon. But now in the mid lane, Sans looking to focus on Naomi, actually getting him out of the team fight here. So that's going to be a mega kill for Drian. They could look to capitalize on this, but a mega kill going over to Silence. That's huge for them. The return, once again, a flicker coming out from Justin. They're looking to push in this mid lane. Boots, you got to be careful. Yellow Flash taking damage again from CW. The gold laners from both teams doing quite a bit here. And now they're not even going to be able to get this mid lane. Boots, respect that damage.
Oh, he finally backs away, and that's a sigh of relief, because I'm just holding my breath. It's like, is he gonna die now? Is he gonna die later? I don't know. And then Falcon, they're just pressing their advantage, but you don't see them fully commit to it. They're just keeping them at arm's reach, so it's just bombarding each other with artillery time and time again.
I was about to mention, like, when I saw snipe damage coming through, even onto, like, members that shouldn't be sniped down that easily, it was insane. And that makes sense, right? When we take a look at the statistics here, damage dealt, it is going to be Silent there in the top ranks. And is he full item yet at this stage, or is he still waiting for a core component?
There you go. Ask and you shall know. As he's got pretty much 3 core items for that Beatrix, but
double penetration.
Yeah, but you can already see CW even pumping out quite a bit himself. Now he's only got, he's also got 3 core items here, and at this point they do have to watch. Like I said, Clint can get to a point where he gets a little scary himself.
Yes, no, 3 items is already a really good mark for him, especially since he has Berserker's Fury. Oh no, but they find the initial catch.
There's nothing you can do here. This is just going to be Onyx Esports grabbing a kill on Yellow Flash. Only a matter of time. There they go. They give it to CW.
All right, for a moment there, if Onyx let that one go, I don't know. I have some very big questions. Very, very big questions.
I think that's great because, again, CW was struggling in the early game. So they're like, you know what, CW, grab these kills while you can because we need you to come online with those itemizations against Silent. So now, Lord up once again. Who's going to commit to this one? Falcon Esports is down 1 member. They have a numbers disadvantage. Silent pumping out the damage on Boots. They're going to look to commit here. CW working on the Lord. Meanwhile, they get Boots down. They're trying to distract them here. Lord still with a taking. A Noon Blast comes out, finds 3, a stun, plus the Yin Yang overturn. That's going to be a double kill for Justin. Pandemonium here in the mid lane. Silent still alive, quite low, but wow, what a play.
I can't even begin to describe how well Falcon played that. That was huge, right? The Noon Blast came in at the right time to be able to just deny 3 members from the side of Onyx Esports, and then Silent once again was able to take that Lord steal. Like, how does that happen? That was just so well done by Falcon. And Onyx Esports, they are underperforming at this stage, as now we're going to take a look at the instant replay here by TikTok.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye here on when exactly he made that steal. Naomi gets forward. Oh, man. Silent, he just does it. He just does it. He whips out the shotgun, or Wesker as it's known, and completely obliterates it just in time, allowing Falcon to now lead up to this moment right here. Silent opting to go for a hostile as well to maintain sustenance, to keep on fighting on it.
Yeah, right now, Lord going to be crashing the turret. There you go. Heavy spin coming out. Look at the damage coming out to Sans, too. Now, Justin is taken out of the picture, so Onyx Esports able to find 1. Meanwhile, turret's still alive. So far, they're able to defend against the siege.
One thing that I've noticed from what Onyx Esports has brought is, like, they had a lot of, like, emphasis on using the guiding wind to be able to go in and going back out in towards team fights, right? But the issue is, when they do that, they get grouped up. And that's just, like, the perfect position for someone like Justin to go in with the Yin Yang overturn and basically, like, burst everyone down.
Check out the damage though, right? We have Silent on top there. Drian is right, pretty much, he's close to him, right? So this is the thing though, as the game continues on, we're at the 16-minute mark. As we go on, especially 20 minutes and above, that could possibly change in favor of Drian because he is doing a great job at staying alive, pumping out the damage where he needs to. He has the sprint too to be able to, disengage where he needs to. So I feel like Falcon Esports needs to keep that in mind and really try to find a way